to 70 to 50 to 70, no break for the last year or so. So I don't know. For this one, it looks like it's technical. I didn't see a headline for it. And then MSOS, like the wheat stock. Someone else was asking why the wheat stock's up today. I believe it was it was
2 headlines.
TrueLive.
TrueLive getting uplisted. Yeah. The other, which I'm also seeing circulated here, involves the White House apparently pushing. It's very complicated, but they're trying to push Congress to, I guess, delay action on something that is related to cannabis, and that action would actually be not good for cannabis and for the psychedelic space. So that's a quick summary.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go, man. And that's one of the ones that I own, that TCNNF or whatever, that's TrueLive. It's one of the only weed stocks that I have left, but it's still a dog, you know what, dog's breakfast over there. But yeah, it was MSOS, people talking, obviously there in the chat if you wanted to look back and forth at an ETF today, MSOS. Breaking a little higher. I know I don't want to speak for Sharif, but I think MindMed was a play of his, maybe still holding. Okay, I was going to say a minute ago, but he's still in that one. So maybe we can get some analysis on that at some point. But that is the story there.
Called MindMed anymore?
I don't think they're called MindMed.
No, what's the new name? So DFTX.
Yeah. So DFTX there. Yeah, SpaceX IPO is open at Robinhood, says Seb. So you guys, I don't know exactly how you put those orders through. I'm not a Robinhood client. Actually, you can't be in Canada, right? Robinhood is not available here in Canada yet. I don't believe.
Just came in. CoinSquare switched from CoinSquare to Robinhood.
And I know they did okay, CoinSquare. I know they did a WonderFi.
They just closed the WonderFi deal as well.
Okay, so yeah, so potentially
they will be. Yeah,
potentially more competition for Wealthsimple or some of these Canadian names as Robinhood coming in. Maybe I'll just wait if Robinhood's coming here. Because I was thinking about taking my TFSA away from the banks and going into something that's like free to trade.
I'd wait for
like a Wealthsimple, but then if all of a sudden Robinhood comes with that gold credit card or whatever the sponsorship is, because Wealthsimple is 2% straight cash.
It's a matter of time. Robinhood is making the move into Canada. It's happening, and they're already doing it on a couple of fronts. Okay, it's past 11 o'clock. You complained about how we owed you 5 minutes. Well, you just got half of that back, boys. So without further ado, we're going to eat some Italian food. And
we also get in trouble from Joe. He wants as much time as possible on air.
Joe does give us a hard time over that, for real. Like he's like, come on, guys, I need to be on camera. I need to show off the guns.
Thank God Joe saved me from betting on Carolina. Thank God. Right there. It's one. Yes, I want to do it right now. I want to do it right now.
Smoke, my boy. It's fair.
Okay,
right now.
let's go.
1-1.
Yeah, I'm down. I was down yesterday, I asked you. Okay, 1-1. Joe and I are on double or nothing. I may owe this guy dinner by the time we're all over with this. I've got Carolina. I don't think anybody wants any smoke on the NBA. I don't know what you guys are thinking about.
Who's going to stand in front of the Knicks?
What?
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, this guy wants the Knicks.
Neil, you want the Knicks?
Who do you? I'm not taking, because I don't know enough about basketball. Just full disclosure.
Okay, but remember, the Knicks are up one. The Knicks.
That's what I'm saying.
They stole a win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to stand in front of the Knicks? I feel like they have all the momentum right now. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Look, I'm personally cheering for the Knicks. But for the fun of it, if you want to do something fun, I'll take San Antonio just for the fun of it. Because I still think San Antonio is a better team. But I'm cheering for the Knicks. I want OG to win it.
Oh, OG Anunoby?
Yeah. Former Raptor, right?
Former Raptor, yeah. And the Raptors. I wish we didn't pick Andrea Bargnani. Number 1 overall.
Aniobi.
Annie up.
Annie up. What do you guys? Is MLB over there or something like that?
I didn't even know OG played for the Knicks anymore. I just don't follow basketball.
Okay, fair.
Right. Yeah. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. It's 4 minutes past. Joe's getting upset. We'll see you at 2 p.m.
Boom. Oh, it's already up.
And yep.
Holy.
Oh, look behind us. Oh, it looks fantastic, Brendo. Boom! Greetings and salutations. Beautiful people, welcome to the Midday Show. This distracted individual is your boy Joey Options, and I am Sharif. And what we're looking at there is the brand new layout. That is you guys right there. That is literally all the messages coming in. And we got the super chats, we got the subs, we got the live poll for whatever ticker is mentioned most. Yeah. This is you right there behind us. Shout out to you guys, man. We're just here to fill time.
Yeah, exactly.
And hold on. Who's the creator of this whole thing over here? He told you to, but it made itself, right? It made itself. It made itself.
Viewers top pick.
There he is. There is the guy with the best hair in the studio.
Yeah, so you know what it is now. You know what it is now, Sharif?
What is it,
yeah,
Joe?
don't annoy me because now I'll block you, and then everyone's gonna know. Everyone's gonna know. Exactly. Yeah. So it's that simple. Don't annoy the kid. He's tired today, or you're gonna get blocked, and everybody's gonna get
straight to jail. Right?
Obviously joking.
Straight to jail. Let's say hello to everybody.
Yeah, say hello.
Because we got to get right down to work. Because BNAI is Rip City. Rip City. Let's say hello to Grandmother's Garden, Durant Gordon. We got Catmandu and Bigfoot Smur, Crazy Dirt Weed, and Bloody Tom. Love it, Fluffy. We see you, girl. Manny Hernandez. Sharif, you need to buy more LULU yoga pants. I was like, I'm going to block you, bro. I love you. I'm just joking. Kanan, you win. We got Sarah, Mahmoud, Anon, Purse. Also, who's that? Red Old Papa. Raheel Anwar. Get it, Raheel. We got Oleg coming from Ukraine. Oh, there's a Canadian flag in there too, Joey. Ryan O'Day. Shout out to Arun. Shout out to Mr. Leahy, as well as Dean the Maniac. Guggen. We got Guggen, Joey. And we got Boosted, Red Spot, and Danny Patel. Shout out to the OG MF. Freaking dangerous. Dude, how come everyone is in pink on that chat? Oh, I don't know. I think it's not pink, brother. It's red. I think it just denotes the source of where they're coming from. So if it's like YouTube, it's red. I think if TikTok, it might be a bit of different color. But this is the consolidated chat. And by the way, we're booming on TikTok right now. A lot of viewers, a lot of new viewers, and repeat viewers daily. So if for whatever reason, if YouTube's not available, you should be looking at the top. Joey, there goes BNAI. It is Rip City right now. We've got a 30.23 high. We're zigging and zagging right now with that $30 area at around 29.5. It's initially a rejection of 30. I want to see if this clears 30 decisively or not, because this has been on a rampage. Joseph, the breakout came in not long ago. You can see the volume only picking up recently. We're not even doing that much volume, to be quite honest with you. BNAI only has about 2.8 million shares, almost 2.9 million shares traded so far. So the volume coming in locally, I don't even think it's halted yet, but it's Rip City. It can rip your face off the other way as well. So make sure there's a plan that you are following and you're sticking to if you're going to get involved in this one, Joey. But I got all eyes on this.
All eyes on that, man. All right, we're going to do our boy Bravely a favor. As you see, we have the chat up there in the back. We're going to stay engaged with you guys as we typically do throughout the whole day. So bring on that good conversation. Put those tickers in the chat. And put those hot takes in there. We love it. But Bravely, Majid, Asuna, Dolsario, Laguina, Armagidio. What's up, brother? I probably butchered that to the fullest extent. Moji, what's up? Mosawa, Paul C, Lex B, Kwaka, Emperor 2026, Lewis not found. Hopefully we can find you one day. Rojo, Ellie, what's going on? YY, Oscar, DJ Vinny. We have the Litz Bar. All right, we like that one. Strong Mind, C Cooper, Lando News, Britt Dab. What's up, Britt? T-Rock. Oh, I like T-Rock. You know J-Rock? Handyman Shane, Badlands, and Jack. Hey, one more there. I'm looking for some regulars. Farmer C, Jose Garcia, and one more. We'll do one more. Sam, a.k.a. Bullpick. What's going on, everybody? We're long Walmart. We're short the NASDAQ. Are we rotating out of tech names? I think so. And with that being said, we're going to head over to the staples. Well, who are the best in the XLP, Sharif? The heaviest weighted? Walmart, Costco, and Target. We got up there. And Procter & Gamble, actually. Procter & Gamble's in there. How's Procter been performing? But AC Slater to the tech game right now. And hello, Staples. Let's get a little defensive, guys. We've got to find some form of a rotation and where the money's actually starting to funnel. And I think that's going to be into some of these names here. So let's pull them up before we go over and send back to Sharif. So we've got on the small cap name. We were trading MyMed bright and early this morning. We're going to pull that up, but later on, we're going to hold it off for quite a little bit, and then we'll figure something else. But COST, Costco, how you doing today? Potential bull flag? Maybe. How's Walmart been performing? We love it. VWAP bounce. Let's see if we can break through the high of the day. I think we'll have the good opportunity to do so. Procter & Gamble over here, my brother, HOD. Good look over there. And TGT, if you're looking for some form of rotation into strength, it doesn't look like Target is that, but Walmart, Costco, and Procter & Gamble performing relatively well here, guys. What a sad day here in NVDA, all the way down to 209. This shelf is absolutely disastrous. We're probably going to head back south of $200 in this bad boy. This high of 237 roughly. Man, I thought we were going to be able to cook up and head closer to 300. Not necessarily the case right now, ladies and gentlemen, as NVDA is not performing how I would like it to.
Just keep going for a sec, because I gotta. Apparently, we have an ad.
Okay,
So
okay. Get ready for that there, and then we'll continue to ramble on because that's what we do. Shout out to whatever, I forget the band that actually sings it, but hey, Oracle starting to rock and roll. Meta 614. We want this $600 level to hold. Okay, if it doesn't, watch out. Need I go over to what before we go back? Before I go over
no
Bitcoin. Man, good thing we were dumping this thing in the 40s. As soon as that trend line broke, it's absolutely disastrous for Michael Saylor and company. Full disclosure, more context. I once had 400 shares of this thing at the IPO. Now I'm down to 100 shares in the long term, okay, everyone? So we offloaded that heavy on the way down, and happier I could not be.
All right, guys, huge shout out to VinFast for sponsoring today's video. They just announced a massive partnership with AutoBrains and NVIDIA to bring level 4 agentic AI driving actually to real life. We're talking next-gen intelligent tech that's completely redefining how we hit the road. If you want to see how the actual future of driving looks like, click the link in the description and check out VinFast today. Shout out to the great folks at VinFast, and I happen to love the VF9. Very nice car. And by the way, I see it all the time because they've got a local, store at the mall by my house, Yorkdale Mall. So you guys know how that works, right? So anyway, guys, just before we go to Sia, because I know she's got something important, just got stopped out of BNAI for the last remaining amount, but we've been basically ripping through this 30.90 high. We have an engulfed candle right now with about a $26 low. There does seem to be a buyer in and around 26 bucks. But this is absolute rip city right now, and we haven't even gotten to triple-digit territory. Let's go up to the big desk, though, to see what Sia's up to.
Thank you so much. Today's hot stock pick is LB Pharmaceuticals, LBRX. Corporate profile and a little bit about the company. That's a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company dedicated to developing novel therapies for certain neuropsychiatric diseases like schizophrenia. Market snapshot. So this company is valued at $801 million of market cap. The price per share trades around $27. Today, it's trading around the $29 region, and it's up 25% year to date and 53% year over year. Its current lead asset is the LB-102 drug, which basically is an oral antipsychotic drug that treats schizophrenia. It's reached stage 3 in trials in the United States, awaiting approval. The company has received a $100 million private placement for its clinical trials, and it currently has $366 million in free cash flow and $0 virtually in debt. So safe to say with calculations that it has a 7-year comfortable cash flow. The company did have a net loss of $63.1 million back in the year 2023, but cut to today, it has come down to $39 million, which is a good number, narrowed. The CEO of the company, Heather Turner, has a 15-year experience in therapeutics and biotherapeutics, 5 years experience being a CEO of these companies. And this all brings you to LBRX. Great stock. Would you look at it?
Thank you very much, Sia. Very informative and well put together. I wonder if she has a journalism background. All right, guys, having a good time. All right, we are halted down, Joey. As good as, you know how the market goes. It giveth, and then it giveth with 2 hands, and then it grows a 3rd hand to taketh away with 3 hands.
Brother, that is
right?
even.
So, bruh. Anyway, BNAI halted down. We're going to keep a close eye on this one. Halt time, 25.88. Halt, 25.88 is the halt price. 11:12:55 is the halt time. Earliest will be open is 11:17:55. Let's keep a close eye on that one. But look, the pickings are slim today, sadly, in the world of small cap gappers. BNAI, look to be the best among them, but there's also BCDA. Now this one technically at the moment below the volume weighted average price, but it is putting in some higher lows, so something to be on the lookout there. You can very much clearly see that there is a repetitive area of resistance, and that's at 150 to 155. Despite that double top going into 180, that was a very short-lived ascension into that level. Most of the prints, for the exception of two, the 955 and the 945 candle, they all close below 150. So I'm of the mind right now that 150 area is a key area of resistance, up 49.8%. That's BCDA. We also have Veru. This one was moving bigly yesterday, kind of trying to take out that 440 high. It looks like there's a lot of resistance at yesterday's closing print, which is about 4 1/5, between 4 1/5 to 4 1/4. So Veru's still on watch. I put SPHL on there, lest it recover above that 750, 775 area where VWAP is. But SPHL, a multiple halter to the upside. Multiple? Did I exaggerate that? No, I was right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there were 3 up halts, 2 down halts on SPHL, but it does feel like this one is suffering from lower highs at the moment. So if it recovers, we'll get involved. If it doesn't, we won't. VVOS. Sub $1. It had a dalliance with the dollar area. Rejected. Let me throw in the ticker there. I do apologize. I didn't get to fully set up my stuff because it was a little late from the gym. Joey, I'm about to show what my May looked like for training. And I'm going to personally give a gift to somebody in the chat that can prove that they had a more aggressive training month than I did. But I'm going to check to see if the pictures are AI. By the way, I'm going to run them. Just make sure you guys aren't scamming me.
So what, like, are we talking like calories burned?
Exactly, like your fitness tracker app, whether you've got, the Apple Watch, you've got something else. It's an open challenge.
How many steps do you do?
Average? 14,000 steps.
How many metrics did we got to beat you by?
Let's just go with calories expended on the month.
Okay.
How about that?
That's fair.
How about that? Okay. So VVOS, we'll get to that when things slow down a little bit, but VVOS also moving up pretty bigly here. I'm trying to see if it can take out the dollar. If it can, then maybe we'll get involved with that one. I want to point out 2 different leveraged ETFs that are not small cap gappers. IREN has a leveraged ETF called IREZ. Or Z, shout out to my American friends, looking real good, man. Good volume on this one, bull flag pattern, just 3 pennies off the high, 656 high, trading at 653. Behooves you to keep an eye out on that one. Likewise with Ergetti, Mom Spaghetti, this one is also trading, a few shekels off the high there. Shout out to our man Nimrod, who I don't know where he is. He doesn't show up anymore, by the way. What a guy. 374, 369 we're trading at right now. So RGTZ should be in focus as well. And BNAI is open and it is trying to rip to the high side, still a lower high. So even though this is catching a bit of a bid, the current candle high far below the prior bar high and also has a lower low. We're fighting with 27 right now. Keep an eye out on the bid to see whether we substantially clear the $27 area on the bid, not just the ask. The reason I say keep your eye on the bid is because the spread is quite wide on this. So the ask can be substantially above 27, all the while the bid is still below that $27 area. So look for confirmation on both sides of the level 2. Continuing to watch this one. Fluffy, since I'm in a wheelchair, would you consider normalizing the numbers? Otherwise, I cannot ever compare to someone that puts in steps, just saying. But we're not going to actually use steps, Fluffy. We're just going to use caloric expenditure, right? So how many calories you expended on the month. But I get it. I get it completely. Maybe we can find a different a metric there. Completely get that.
Just go straight kilometers.
Straight kilometers.
You probably get beat that way too, right?
Yeah,
rip on those.
It's an important question. How late? I asked him that. I was like, you all right? Because I know him now, right? Like if I come in, he's in a good mood, I know. He's in a, If he's tired, I also know. So that's the first thing. Then I see the cup right there. It's like, he's chaching down. The caffeine, he's a little tired. So shout out to my man, Joey, man. It is Friday, so you'll get a couple of days rest there.
Yeah, exactly, man. All right, guys, let's get right back into things. I did go to bed a little bit later. We're just watching a little bit of the Cup final there last night, working on some other things as well too at home. So
secrets.
yeah, no secrets, man. We don't keep those
Big
around here.
Joey.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, last time around you tried to fool us with that. And you're like, I can't tell you what's going on. And all of a sudden there's an entire website and an entire service going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we'll get into that momentarily. There, sure. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. All right, guys. There it is, 79.40 here. We had a little bit of a rebound in the NASDAQ, and then now we're starting to move a little bit lower, guys. We took some off when we were talking about the 79 break. The support levels were being breached, so we had to take that flat bottom break trade, and then sure enough, we remove half of the position. Moving forward, we're still sitting in Walmart, NASDAQ down, Walmart up. You're seeing the rotation, right? You're seeing the rotation into these staple names, and that's what we're looking for, man. So a nice balance here. How are the banks performing? We're going to take a look at that momentarily. We're going to diamond hands this until the high of the day. There's no reason for us to sell, especially if tech is selling right now. Okay. So we'll hold up to $120.80. And I mean, you got to take into consideration $135 is the all-time high roughly here on Walmart. So we're not too far away from it, and a nice recovery here in this name. This is what we want to see. Did I grab some more at the lows? No, unfortunately, I didn't. Full disclosure, shareholder of this bad boy. And then we also had JPM doing us wonders yesterday, finally starting to get the ball rolling on this bad boy. I'm not going to be grabbing any more of the CDR at this point, but 313 and change with a high of 315 in the pre-market, Sharif. Hey, man, this has been a laggard in my opinion, and I think it's a good opportunity to get involved if you haven't been already. And NVDA, I haven't talked about, I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times. I'll go over it one more here. $208, and it looks like there's no bottom in sight. I think it's going to get pretty ugly in this name. Let's pull it up and get into more of these technicals. Bitcoin is just an absolute disaster for everyone who's holding this stuff in the crypto space. A big-time breakdown. $71 on IBIT. You're down 51%. You're now south of the original IPO price here, or no, relatively close to it. No, you're getting right close to it there, Sharif. It's only a matter of time. But hey, listen, there's someone on the opposite side buying this stuff. It's going to take some time for this thing to finally find its footing and its ground. Now, what was I about to pull up? NVDA, we're going to take a look at it from the daily. See, support systems being broken, and this is just an overhang that I don't like. We want to see a clean ebb and flow within this, and then just steady moves higher. Not necessarily the case right now. Now, a couple more things I want to touch on, and I don't know how many times I've mentioned this. I'm going to mention it one more time. This is all fun and games, right? Like, if you're a shareholder, if you've been in these positions, but don't forget, we can climb higher, but then you get chucked off the top of the roof sometimes with some of these names, right? Like, look at Broadcom, Sharif, AVGO. I'm not going to call it a fall from grace, but if you're buying up there in the mid 400s, that's not really fun because you're already down 20% off of the high. So that's a little bit tougher to stomach. Be patient. When you have these parabolic moves, I'm a firm believer that if you sell some cash secured puts, if you have that type of funding, I would go that route, collect premium while you have the ability to wait for the stock to come to your price. It may take longer than what you're anticipating, but the chances are you of roughly getting it, in my opinion, are high.
Absolutely, Joey. Good call on that, man. You got a plan for the SpaceX IPO? You and I were kind of discussing it a little bit off camera this morning.
From what aspect? Investing or like here?
No, just the trade. Like when we take the IPO during the midday. Full BP, all gas, no brakes, right?
It's like
ask for a BP bump.
It's either
it's all gas.
It's either catch me in Thailand for the winter break or maybe the unemployment line.
It's not gonna happen. Okay, Assassino, I think Sia's trying to get your attention, brother. Dan, what's your average caloric burn for the day, month? Say less, Dan. Okay, so May was my second best month ever. I burned, 1 second, Assassino. I burned 27,300 calories. I've beaten this month only once. I think I hit 28 and change. I did 58 different workouts. Most of those are strength. Those will include tennis, though. and I burned, as I mentioned already, 27,300. My workout time was 66 hours and 36 minutes and 40 seconds with an average of an hour 10 per workout. And the only reason my average is a little down is because my morning workout's a little bit shorter than my morning one, my afternoon one. We got to go to Sia.
Yeah, just take a look at U.S. A little bit of a downtick there, down currently by 2%. U.S. Energy Secretary commenting saying U.S. will be adding 40 million barrels to SPR after the Iran conflict is over. This is coming from Fox Business just a couple seconds ago. Just to repeat, USO a bit on the downside right now. U.S. Energy Secretary saying that U.S. will be adding 40 million barrels to SPR after Iran conflict is over, coming from Fox Business. Right, back to you.
Great, thank you very much, Sia, for that. All right, continuing to watch here. I'm watching SOAR. SOAR's trading at around 41 pennies. I'm thinking maybe, you know, I'd maneuver into this one. I'm not 100% sure quite yet. Big Max with Joe. Get it, Scott. All right, any small cap gappers, random oddities. I'm looking at SOAR and I'm looking at BNAI as well. But BNAI is in a bit of a downtrend, so I'm waiting for this one to flip. Shout out to Ronian1, inspiring. You're inspiring. Thank you for the very nice comment. Shout out to you, Dan. 3,696 per day. 115,274 for the month of May. Fitbit, Google Health. For real? I kind of don't believe that. So you're quadrupling me? More than quadrupling me? I don't know. Are you working out all day? Like,
who said that? Who said that?
Dan. Dan, 428766. Shout out to Dan. Commodity King wants me to look at AVAD. Commodity asks, I oblige.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
But if you were to have a higher body fat percentage, is that possible that you can be burning more?
You have a...
Yeah. Yeah, right. So maybe.
Right, but I think that okay. I still don't think that that's feasible.
That's feasible.
But
right,
whether,
so
maybe he is doing it. Who knows?
So
it's hard for me to tell, right? Like I can't even see him.
Do we have to stop the capping?
Stop the capping. All right, Joey. Let me look at AVAD over here for Commodity King. Into 280 we go, Assassino. We're looking at this one. It's into the high. AVD is up a respectable 11.5%. It's an $80 million market cap, having done 470,000 shares on the day. American Vanguard Corporation. Okay, cool. This is not bad. The volume is a little lackluster, though. I'm going to keep it on because the pickings are slim today. So we can't be choosers. When, currently, honestly, we're beggars at this point because there's really not that much going on. So we're going to throw this one on to the side chart, AVD. There it goes, Dan, Commodity King, into another high of the day. 281, really going here. Keep your eye out on this one. Brian Vickers, how many eggs do I need to eat? You got to have 12, baby. But I recently have started cutting out now the yolks from my morning breakfast. So I'd have like 2 or 3 typically. I'm cutting those out. And there's a reason for that. It's because I'm going to have them later in the day, right? When they give us breakfast here, most of the time it's eggs. So I save those to eat after the midday as sort of like my post-work snack before I go and work out, right? So those typically have yolk in them. So I'm just like, all right, I'll just take the yolk from there. I don't need to be getting double the yolk. But I am in a calorie deficit currently, and I will be this way probably until mid to early October. We'll see exactly when we shut it off. So that's going to be the, don't be a stinker. Maybe he's burning that. What Joe said, maybe, man. I have no idea, Fluffy. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm just a hater. All right, Rex Banner, SNBR is moving again. Let's take a quick look at that one, Joey. SNBR, I'm still keeping a close eye here on BNAI. Nice call out on SNBR. This could be a failure, though, and that's because we're coming from the south side of the volume-weighted average price, so there's always the possibility that this could fail. And even if it gets above it, what it ends up sometimes doing is making a lower high and luring you into the trade. So I'm going to keep this one on. Another good one here, we're going to take off BCDA because that's doing bupkis, and we're going to put SNBR on instead. Hopefully this one can make a move and we can have something to trade. But right now, guys, pickings are super slim. Dan says, where do you want the screenshots? It's Google Health tracked by Fitbit. Send it to my Instagram, baby. Send it to my Instagram. Conciliary25, super simple. Yeah, figure out the spelling on that. All right.
Yeah,
Joey, we got a super.
Go ahead, man.
No, you got it, my boy.
All right, we'll get in the super here.
We had another one? Oh, my bad.
Hey, man, don't shy away from the old supers there. We're going to say we took some off on Walmart as we failed to put in a high. We're starting to pull back a little bit here, guys. And then we took some off there on the NASDAQ as well. So, oh, yeah, we'll get into our MindMed trade here momentarily, but we're rocking on roll these bets.
Oh, MindMed, eh?
Yeah, that's
FTX? The FTX?
No, it was the other one that was, what was the one that was going this morning?
Switched, right? MNMD, is that the FTX?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Anyways, man, you can see I know what I'm talking about here. All right, here we go. I'm assuming since I have circle 612 calls, break even 89 is going to 0 in the next few days. BTC has been obliterated. It needs some milk. It needs more than milk, man.
It needs some milk.
Yeah, it needs to get on a lot. It needs to hop on a cycle or something.
Oh, it needs some peptides.
Yeah, it needs the peptides. There it is, some Scotty Pepin over there. Pull up the next one. In regards, the chances of those contracts being dead are probably relatively high. In regards to SpaceX, using your own brokerage, i.e. Webull, Robinhood, et cetera, if you want, you can set orders at open. Yeah, check if you can do sell. If you want, you can set orders at open. So any form of order, yeah, I mean, do a limit on open or a market on open, whatever you're comfortable with. Especially if you don't have any of those shares. So that's what Sharif and I have been talking about. That's what we do when we trade some of these IPOs. We go limit on open. We want, as soon as that bad boy opens up, we want to get in on that first second of the print, just in case you have that massive move into the fact and where it's going to haul. Oh, look who's behind us. All right, I see who it is. Let's see what it is on screen.
Oh, you guys don't know who that is.
Don't tell him.
Well, your head's in the way. There you go.
There we go.
That is Tiffany. She's the newest member of the production team. Tiffany, wave at the camera. Just say hello. There you go.
What's up, Tiff?
So when we're saying Tiffany now, you guys know who we're talking about. Everyone, we're saying Assassino. When we say Ram, you guys know, right? And we talk about Fabian as well. Eh? Well, let it come organically.
Yeah, you got to let it, exactly.
We have to know her first, and then we give her a nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? See, he's trying to boss us around.
That's crazy.
What's going on over here, Joe?
All right, let me talk about some stocks here momentarily. Jesse, man, I'm going to give you a 10-second. I don't know why. You're just, for some reason, I don't know.
I added him on Instagram now.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we got material.
Yeah, exactly.
We got material,
out,
Jesse. Don't worry, guys. We got you down.
You know what I was going to do, man? I was going to print. I was going to get Ram to just print a picture of his profile picture. And then I was just going to wear it.
You're going to wear it?
I was going to wear it. Yeah, that was my plan here. Because no one would have known who it was, but he himself would have. All right, 313 here on AAPL. Guys, we went over some of the big names. How are the CrowdStrikes of the world performing today? Not too bad. An inside session, 689. What's he saying? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you got to be careful around here.
Jesse, you're making me laugh.
Yeah, Zscaler still in the dumps. And Salesforce, we seen that the stock had a little bit of a bounce, but giving back the majority of that move right there. So not too good of a luxury. Dell Computers down to $400 off of that high of $475. Watch out for this gap to be filled. I think you'll be able to catch this name in the 300s. As the NASDAQ, Sharif, continues to bleed its own blood. Yeah. It's bleeding everybody's blood at this point because everybody's like, why aren't we going up here today? But Walmart slowly starting to climb higher here as we inch lower here on the TQs. We're going to take some more off momentarily there, my boy Sharif, as we put in a new low of the day.
Joey, I don't like anything right now. Like, literally, I don't like anything. Nothing is looking good at the moment, sadly. Like, I'm looking here. I'm searching here, guys, and I'm not liking anything right now. Assassino, can we put the screen, brother? Thank you very much, brother. I know, distracting you over there.
Save man, why would Save Man, Woman, Peace say that?
What?
Met with
what
Canadian officials.
Yeah.
Officials.
Yeah.
You guys have a surprise coming. Sorry, can't share. I don't think that anything is going to really surprise us anymore, to be honest.
No,
not me.
Share. You can't say stuff like
man,
that.
That is so
Give us a
lame,
hint, Save Man, Woman. You have very good contributions in the chat.
Yeah,
I read some of the stuff you
read.
But you can't just say stuff like that without, giving a hint.
Yeah, man.
You got to throw a hint out there. Whoa. Where did all that come from?
I'm going to hit this here, man.
Go ahead, Joey.
And we haven't hit this here today, as we're at the low of the day here in the NASDAQ.
They came in their nice suits on Canada, looked sharp. Canada will be okay.
Okay.
I really hope so, man. I really do hope so, brother. Because President Trump is trying to slap us with a new 10% tariff as a result of forced labor practices. Prime Minister Carney has already said he was anticipating that. They're going to address that. Hopefully, we'll get everything good there. KC 520 frickin' 6. Love this woman. Uncle Sheriff, thoughts on IHD for a swing? Looks like a breakout potential. KC, you ask, you get. Let's look at IHD for the very, very talented small cap trader, KC 526. That's IHD, right? Yeah. IHD. All right, let's go to the daily on this one. What the hell? IHD. On the NYSE, there we go. Daily. Okay, sorry. This looks fantastic, Casey. Okay, so you always bring up good charts here. This is great. So you definitely had support at that 4.5. That's a very obvious area of support. That range was also limited from about 4.5 to 575, the way I see it. This is the daily, right? You get that 575 break now. Did 575 and or 6 feature as support once broken? Yes, generally over here, but the higher lows, okay, it looks like it's finding more support at the 200. Case in point, take a look at this range here from March, I want to say late February, no, it looks like early March to the gap up. Look at that gap right there on the 8th of April, love it. Then a very clear area of resistance between 7 1/5 to 7 1/3. You get that clearing, and now you're basically putting in higher highs and higher lows. What does this company do? Voya, emerging market. Okay, this fund, it's an ETF. Total return combination, current capital gains, capital appreciation, 80% managed assets, dividend, equity, securities, derivatives. Okay, so it doesn't give the full details of what they invest in. So Casey, I would say the technicals really do show 7.5, possibly here support. Let me flip just to the weekly quickly to get a better gander on this one. Oh, there's stuff here. Okay, now we're coming from some highs. This looks like a rounded bottom in progress, Casey. This is a great look. So you're likely going to have a move up here into 8.5. 8.5 has featured as a multiple area resistance level going back to January 2019, going back to January 2020, again, July 2021. So that 8.5, 8.25, that's going to feature as resistance. But here's the deal. You could get a couple of outcomes. One, you can get into that 8.5, and then you can put the cup and handle pattern in, right? So you get that consolidative look, perhaps between 8.5 to 8, maybe even 7.5. It wants to range a little bit. So I would say right away I'm seeing a rounded bottom. And then whether or not you can project the measured move from 4.5 to 8.5, that gives you a $4 projection on the breakout of the 8.5, right? Because that's what we're looking at for the measured move. The measured move pattern for the rounded bottom is to take it from the area low to the neckline breakout. In my estimation, the neckline breakout's around 8.5. So that gives us a $4 projected move. So if you do get that 8.5 breakout, you're looking for 12.5 there. But two eventualities, and that's what I want to point out. You could get that direct break through the rounded bottom, or you can get the cup and handle pattern where it moves to the side around the neckline of the rounded bottom. So think about those two eventualities. This is the weekly, and that is a hell of a support level there on the weekly at around 4.5. Fantastic look. I hope you print up multiple storms on that, Casey. What do you got, Joey?
Yeah, good stuff, man. Here it is. I was talking to Gaurav, my boy, my OG Gaurav. You know, Gaurav was one of the first people in the chat. Him and I were just, he's like, man, same trading styles and everything along those lines.
Yeah, I know that.
Shout out to Gaurav.
Gaurav's awesome, bro,
yeah,
by the way. Except he's a Liverpool fan. That's, you know, his only drawback there. But
block him. No, I'm joking. We can never. I would unblock you immediately, my boy. Anyways, obviously being sarcastic there's the NASDAQ to the downside, right? And then here it is with Walmart moving higher. So we got 2.5% up here in Walmart, and then you can see the Qs are down 4% today. That's crazy, getting absolutely walloped. But hey, man, there it is. I think we're gonna head for the high of the day. I'm still holding on to approximately 60% of this position. 120.80 is where we're gonna look to trim a little bit here, and then we're gonna take some off on the NASDAQ momentarily as this thing continues to bleed. So at week one, guys, rotation out of tech, you wanna find where the money's flowing into, and I think it's the Walmart, the Costco's of the world right now.
All out PT Mass.
You got some small
There's
caps
been one
moving over
moving
there.
here, Joey.
All right, there it is. So we take some off there on the TQs. Oh, I want to pull up that, what is it, CMND, right? CMND, is that what we are rocking? Clear Mind Medicine. So this is what we got up to earlier in the pre-market. So we started looking at, we seen this bull flag starting to be formed here at 8:11 in the morning, and then sure enough, we take a couple of stop outs, but look how long I hold this one. I'm like, all right, we're at the bottom end of the range. There seems to be a buyer at 370. I like how definitive and distinct it is when you can see them starting to set up in at some key levels, and then we eventually broke out. Did I catch the top? But what happened here is, considering I took, 60 plus cents, and I'm only losing 30 on these trades. So you hit a 2-to-1, you end up positive on that name. So not too bad whatsoever. I'm not going to complain. And then that's when we're like, all right, what's going on? If the market's going to bleed, we're going to talk about Walmart quite a bit here today, as it's up 2.4% and continuing to climb here, Sharif. So I like this play. It's unfortunate that these tech names are selling, but hey man, you know, I've been selling.
I'm a rock star.
I've been selling some things, right? We've been rotating out of Bitcoin. We reduced our exposure in Netflix, and now I'm sitting on some dry powder because I think at some point it's going to be a buy the dip scenario. What names do I want to grab? It starts with a G and ends with an L.
Yeah, I wonder how many different tickers that could be. All right, guys.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, it is. Well, there's not too many 5-letter tickers either, too, right? So there's not too many. What? What happened?
So I don't know if they did that on purpose. But.
All right, NOTV's going here, 29. It's on the way to 30, 29.73 high. I made a bit of a boo-boo here. I got in, and then I got out everything, so ended up flipping short. I've got 27 2/3 on. It's showing me 28. We're looking for more, 28 1/3, scalping, looking for a move, a bigger move into 30, mind you. Let's go ahead and wait at 29-ish for a beak wetter. And my move here is pretty simple. I defend into about 24.5 to 25. There's a bit of a resistance level there, so I'm looking for that area to hold up if it does fail. On the other side of that, I'm looking for a move into 30, right? My bias right away is to that next 10-penny level. It's up bigly here to the tune of 228%, and there it goes into 28, and there comes 29. It is now knocking on the door of 29. We could see a breach here. There's a huge seller at 28.93. They killed him, Joey. We're above 29. Here comes 30. It's a 29.73 high. This could have been the 30 touch here. As you know, it doesn't always make it up right into that penny level, but we're looking for a little bit more here, Joe. So good volume on this, 552 million shares, so over 500 million shares exchanged hands already. So we got ample liquidity with which we can get in and get out with ease. That's always comforting, especially with these volatile names. So NOTV gotta be here. We're gonna wet the beak, Jesse, of course, man. That should go without saying. Joey, we're looking for a 30 breach here. What are you looking at, brother? Here comes 30.
All right, man. Yeah, everyone in my my group chat talking about.
What are they talking about?
Bitcoin now. Everyone's a crypto expert now. Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25K.
Yeah, I know. I got my cousins messaging me as well. Like, it's like, I don't represent Bitcoin.
Yeah,
you
know,
realize
man.
this,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I have nothing to do with this. And I never give ever my family advice, except my parents. When I told them to buy Bitcoin, they didn't. But I don't give my immediate family advice. I don't give my sister advice. I don't give my cousins advice. I just steer clear of that.
You know what I tell them?
Right?
You know what I tell them?
What do you tell them?
When they say, hey man, you never told us this, you never told us that. I'm like, yeah, well, if you really wanted to know, you would read a little bit and then do some research yourself and then come to me with like an actual legitimate question and then not just be like, hey, what do I buy? Why didn't you tell me to buy this? Yeah, lazy.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah,
too?
absolutely.
You know, I hate to paint with one brush like this, but I do feel that Canadians are woefully underinformed about the stock market and equities in general. We were so gung-ho with real estate because everybody was making their millions off real estate. All you have to do was just buy and hold, and you know, eventually you're gonna have a good amount of equity. And I don't think that that's going to be the case anymore, at least in the way that it was for the last decade and a half, perhaps maybe a little bit more. So they better get a little bit more knowledgeable.
Like the exponential growth was like in the late teens, right? Like when you're seeing everything start to hit that $1 million marker, how much higher are things going to go? Like what are you going to fall into New York prices? I mean, I think over time you'll still see some appreciation streak, but like that large amount where your house is like the value of your house is tripling and doubling in the span of a handful of years.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it doesn't set up for a sustainable model where young people can get into the market, and they're completely priced out.
They have to wait for that money to funnel lower, right? We're talking about the biggest exchange of wealth from the boomers into some of these younger people.
Joe.
But yeah, okay, so they're just going to sit on these houses and stuff, but not everybody's in that scenario. All right, let's get right back into these markets. How do I turn 12?
Good call out, Casey.
Good stuff there, Jesse. There's somebody on the internet. You'll be able to find that.
It's way worse in the EU, apparently, says WISPs HS. Nobody knows anything about equities. Yeah. I didn't grow up learning much about equities. I didn't learn diddly squat in school.
My friend told me about this stuff when I was I was like 22, at 21, 22 is when I first started learning about it. So yeah, I mean.
And what was your immediate opinion? It was like more of like, hey, an investment vehicle, or hey, something I can get rich quick. Like, what was your honest opinion? Thinking.
So here, I'll give you more context to this story. I'm living in Liberty Village. It's the teens of the 2000s. I'm 21, 22. My buddy said, hey, Joe, you're sitting on too much cash. They're going to legalize marijuana. You should buy some stock. Okay.
That was it, right? That was the talk.
But see the ignorance behind everything. I knew nothing at the time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, here, let's just do this to see if we can make some money. You're young, dumb, and you're just looking to see how much money you can obtain. And I didn't really know what the objective was. I didn't have one to see. It was just like, hey, let's put some cash in it and let's see what happens. They're gonna legalize this stuff, it's gonna boom. And I just happened to be on the right side of things and the right place at the right time. It was complete luck. I just happened to be on some cash and somebody mentioning, hey, Joe, you should do this. And then I literally Googled, this was the due diligence I did.
Okay.
I literally Googled best and largest marijuana companies in Canada.
Okay.
Aurora Cannabis pops up, Afria, and Canopy Growth Corp.
I did something similar to that, to be quite honest with you. So I'm not gonna dog you.
So
for
what do
that
I
at
do?
all.
I walk across the street where the TD Bank is in Liberty Village, and I say, hey, I want to put this money into this. I want to invest in stocks. Sure, here you go, Joe. There it is. Put your money in there, and then that was it. It was a wrap after that.
Yeah, well.
So there was zero skill behind it.
I get it. But look what it led into, though.
Yeah.
Right, and that's another thing we got to consider there. All right, getting into NOTV, there does seem to be a buyer here locally at around 24 pennies, maybe 23 and change. I'm backing at 27. I'm looking for a bigger move and a retest of 30. It was an ugly topping tail candle, so the current candle is not that comforting because we technically have a lower low and a lower high, but we've got support off that same predictable area, which is kind of like low 23s, mid 24s. Let's see if we can try to work our way back above that 30 penny area. I also want to mention VVOS. KC526 was calling this one out. You've got a double top here into 103 with a 106 high. So this is putting an ascending wedge pattern. Look at the bottom chart there, guys. Higher lows with a bit of a flat top. So VVOS in focus here. Let's keep an eye out on this one. 106 high on VVOS. Gavin, they should teach finance to everyone at schools, including loans, stocks, mortgages, etc. Also cooking. These are life skills everyone needs. I couldn't agree more with you,
They don't want
Gavin.
you to know.
They don't want you to know, says Fabian. They don't want you to know because they want you to remain ignorant. No, I get that. I get that thinking, but they're doing it now. Big Dougie apparently is doing it now.
It just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you teach people financial literacy in like the most basic aspect instead of having to go to business school?
Right. All right, VVOS taking out the day high into 109. I'm involved in this one at 7s. Let's see what we get here on VVOS. Looking for a move into 10s. Let's see if we're able to get that, showing 8s. Not quite the move I was looking for here on VVOS, but a big price spike nonetheless. Keep your eye on this one. Shout out to Casey for calling this one out here. Good luck, Joey.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, and taxes too, man. Did mine not too long ago. All right, guys.
You do your own?
Yeah.
Smart.
Are they right? I don't think it can be that complicated, man. You just type in the numbers that are off of the T4 into that, and so I mean, hey, don't come knocking on my door, man. I was just following the instructions. Anyways, aside from that, guys, Walmart's starting to slide pretty aggressive, guys. We're up 2.5% at this previous peak. Now we're down to 2% here and continuing to slide a little bit. Now, same thing with the NASDAQ. We'll head over to the big boys and see Meta can't seem to find a bottom. We're at $400 on Tesla as well, as that was just a complete waterfall situation here earlier this morning. And then $56, $57 in STI. I like what Jesse Hernandez was saying about that this morning. It was quite comical. And then there it is, the SPY continuing to bleed. We didn't look at, actually we did look at JPM not too long ago, so we're gonna pull it up again one more time as we just hold on to these runners right now in Walmart. If it comes back to our break even, then we get out of the trade. It's that simple. 120.11, you can see that 119.86 is going to be our entry price. With a high of $315 here on JPM, we're now down to 311. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, those have been the better performers. You're down to 214 in each one of these. Goldman Sachs there.
Goldman and that call on Tesla, like just perennial bears, and then the analyst leaves, and all of a sudden they're like gung-ho bulls. I get it. And not everybody has to feel the same way, but they're representative of the entire firm, so I think that that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is a little comical, but hey, man, if you're going to do something, Sharif, you may as well do it to the fullest. If you're going to flip your bias, you may as well just do it and be like, hey, man, this is how we truly feel about that.
227%, Joey.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Kathy Wood has a $4,000 price target on Tesla, I believe. So if anybody's a bull, it's her within that name. I don't know if you'll ever see $4,000 again on Tesla. Don't rule anything out, right? So I use this comparison. We talk about the inning aspect of what we are in regards to this AI trade, data centers, etc. Okay, we're not in the 9th or the 8th or the 9th. We're in like the middle innings right now. But in my opinion, we're in the middle innings of the beginning of the season. Or a 7-game series. What can happen with this stuff is endless, in my opinion, because you have no idea what 10, 20, even 30 years down the road is going to look like.
All right, let me cover this for Traveling Trader. By the way, we're ripping here on VVOS. We got 7s. The best print I do believe I've got is 19s. Here it comes into 20s, and there goes 20. There's 21. There's 22. There's 24. Rip City right now into 26. VVOS is on its horse and could see the third of a dollar sooner rather than later, posting at 28, posting at 31. Let's see what we get here, up 81%. KC 520 freaking 6. Another call there. Shout out to her. All right, let's get to this super over here. Hey, Sharif, could you please look at BCDA and Opine? I feel it can skyrocket and got a huge position. I really hope it looks good, brother. Let's take a look at BCDA. Thank you for the $5 Canadian super chat. Guys, VVOS is ripping. I can't make this full screen just because I have to keep an eye on the position, but BCDA. Biocardia. Okay, just let me take a quick look over here. Clinical stage company developing cellular and cell-derived therapeutics treatment for cardiovascular and pulmonary diseases, advancing 2 cell therapy platforms derived from bone marrow, such as CardiAMP, AMP, and autologs. Mononuclear cell therapy platform is being advanced for 2 clinical indications, heart failure with reduced ejection fraction and refractory angina resulting from chronic myocardial. I can't say that last word there. But let's look at the weekly. Okay. By the way, VVOS failing here. Be careful. I have my stop below 106. So this has seen better days, clearly. A very prolonged downtrend. If you're asking my opinion on the technicals, Traveling Trader, the technicals are not good, okay? That's just the truth of the matter. This is the weekly. We can flip to the daily. It's an unbroken downtrend at the moment, and that's just, that's the nature of the beast. Whether or not this can really take off, you're gonna be looking here, I would say, first things first, you need to get through that 150 area resistance, very staunchy resistance level. So, sorry, we're gonna go to see in a second, Assassino, but I'm just gonna finish analyzing this for him. So BCDA is the ticker. Let's throw that on there so everybody else can follow along. You need to get through 150. 150 clear area resistance, right? And then above that 150 level, you've also got a key area of support here at around 175 to 2/3. The good news is the 200 is just a little bit below, or a little bit above, pardon me, where we're trading right now. We're trading at $1.33. The 200 exponentials at 141. We're basically at the simple right now. That purple line on your screen, that's a simple 200. We're at that, 133. So you're breaking trend, but you need to close above $1.50. in my submission here to really say the trend has changed. And then we're really going to get going if you can close above 250. Look at this prolonged area of consolidation here, right around that 250 level. So it's a step-by-step sort of process. BCDA sounds very promising what they have, but the technicals also have to jive with the theory. Huge seller here on VVOS at 130. Hopefully, when we get back from SIA, it'll be gone.
So really quick, BTC down 5.3%. Bitcoin is looked to set a dismal week cap on Friday. Prices have slid to $60,000 region. This marks a 50% decline since its all-time high of 126,000 that was seen in September 2025. So this is technically 10 months ago. And the last time that it has traded below that $60,000 region is September 2024, not looking that great. Also, Zcash has been linked to an apparent exploit that has been found in coding of the token that allows hackers to reproduce unlimited counterfeit tokens, and also broader crypto prices, as we're seeing today, we're falling under heavy selling pressure. With that, Zcash USD almost down 30% on the day, and ETH with that down 10.4%. Sending it back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Sia. So we did breach 130, but it was very short-lived. 133 high. We're putting an aggressive sell now. I feel like there is a short really earmarking this 1 1/3, 133 area. Look again how staunchy that resistance is there, despite the earlier breach. Be on the lookout here. There is somebody really targeting this 1 1/3, 130 area as resistance, showing here on VVOS.
A cloudy scrummy, but maybe. All right. Oh, it's our friend from Down Under, I believe.
Something's wrong with the mic, Assassino, everybody. You're doing tests? Okay.
Let's
all
see
right.
his mic. All right. Yeah, we got the Uncle Sharif currently trading SBCX USDT futures on BTC, says T-Lee790. Shout out to you. And then cloudy, scrumpy. What's going on? How we doing, fellows? Q's call at 7:30 expire today. $19.50 on Wednesday, 22 cents now. Absolutely fuming, mate. Take about a drop bear market. Time to make some lemonade, boys. Let's get at it. And Sharif, up the Gunners. All right, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, 10 Australian dollars. There we go. Our good guy from Down Under. We're coming over to Goldie, so be prepared for when Trader TV storms the Down Under. Maybe we go see what cooking with Volk.
On the company, right?
On the company. Well, how else would we be going there?
Looking at Brandon.
Brandon, he's already. We're already in talk with that with Brando. He said we booked the flights.
He's good with that?
Yeah, man, you were gonna book the flights and everything. We're already rocking and rolling. First class too, one way, no layovers or anything. All right, guys, here it is.
Yeah, we don't do layovers.
No, we don't. I can't do a layover. Traveling trader, $5 Canadian. Sharif, hit the flag. Hey, Sharif, could you please look at BCDA? You did that one already. Upon it, feel I can skyrocket and get a huge position, but once again, cloudy.
I hope he does, man.
Canada 2.0, or maybe we're Australia 2.0. Looking at TE, did you do the Alan Bertatoni?
Remind me what it says?
Looking at TE and Keel for a leap and shares play, is it looking like a good entry point right now? Well, you're talking leaps. That's my neck of the woods. Let's get involved into this stuff. Keep it up there for me, Assassino, where I need to type in some of the tickers.
Okay.
What's really important, it doesn't really matter what the options chain is telling us right now. If you're looking for leaps, you just want to see the outlook potentially from the technicals within the stock itself. Now, let's take a look at, what was it, Keel? I've never heard of.
Key and Peel?
No, Keel Street, if anything like that. Yeah, I mean, not bad. Waiting for this pullback. There is obviously a supply zone. Yeah, we know Keel Street, Assassino. Sharif's he's not allowed over that way.
Wow, why?
Over there.
What the
$5,
hell?
you're down 20%, but this is a nice move, right? Like, if this is just gonna be a pullback, I think at this pace, you're gonna break through some of these pivot levels and then continue. So, yeah, be patient, allow it to come to you. If you're going leaps, then cash secured puts on the way. Keep it up for me. We're gonna go over one more ticker before we send it back over to Sharif, because he's got a monster of a trade on, I can see right now.
Appreciate
in VVOS. Cue the super chat one more time. That last one, Assassino.
Yeah. Can we put the super?
Yeah, pull the super chat back up from the previous one. Yeah, and then TE. Take a look at this one. Thank you. Oops, that's not what we want to do. Breathe, Wusa. TE. And then we're going to get over to Sharif momentarily. Leaps and shares. Listen, if you're looking to leverage your play, then I can understand the leap aspect, but just remember the example of our friend from the Down Under just gave us within his contracts, just losing the majority of its value relatively quick. Leaps, it takes longer, it's a slower decay, but shares, you never have to worry about that, right? You can always just grab a little more, grab a little bit more, and you don't have to worry about the decay in T1 energy within the share itself. Always have to be cautious of theta when you're buying options contracts.
All right, I just got to look at MRLN here for Rachel. Absolutely, Rachel, very good one, but it's a little consolidative at the moment. It had a big day. MRLN is the ticker. So we're going to throw on the 5-minute there. See, very bull flaggish. The problem is the flag part is taking a little too long here to kind of go. But hey, here we're about to break up above the volume weighted average price Assassino. Just one. See ya? Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So we've got resistance here, Rachel, certainly at $10. Whether or not we hit that at 4 a.m., we got to 1081. But look at all the prints, Rachel, that do reject that $10 area. So first and foremost, I want to see if we can close a 5-minute candle above $10, because we already know it can get above 10. It just doesn't stay above 10. Whether you're looking at today's price action in the pre, or whether you're looking at yesterday's price action in the aftermarket. Here we come again, popping off. Good call out here. 966 current candle high on MRLN. I'm going to put this one on the side chart, man. We're going to take off SNBR, which is doing bupkis. MRLN. Thank you for this one, Rachel. So again, you know, you can try to get in here and work your way into that $10 resistance, have it reject possibly, and then stop out. Or you can take the other side of the trade, wait for a decisive close of 10, and then a move back up. I'm willing to bet, you know, that you can probably get something here between the 9.5 to 10 because, you know, most of these area highs have moved into that $10 area, only rejected. That gives you about 50 pennies currently worth of room, but trade it using a trend following system. So for example, if it loses current bar low or even more aggressive, prior bar low, you need to be on the lookout there. So trade it with using good risk management parameters. Just before we go to happening now and Neil's lesson of the day, VVOS has the current high, right? Sorry, the current 5-minute chart, 5-minute candle. Lower low and lower high relative to the prior candle. So watch out now for an aggressive retracement here on VVOS. Separately, I've gotten back involved in NOTV because there's a lot of bottoming tail candles into 22.5, and I'm looking for a move back into 30. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. 12:02. We're sending you up to the big desk. Then Neil's lesson of the day.
Let's start by taking a look at 3 major averages for today. The S&P in the red, down 1 4/10%. The triple Qs down 2.64%. And the Dow currently trading flat. Our first ticker to discuss for today, I have news for you, is BA, Boeing. We talked about the story before, but there is an update. BA will be beginning its 737 MAX production next month as early as 6th of July. Boeing will be beginning its new airplane production of the new airplanes on the 6th. Final assembly line on its opening of north of Seattle. The new 737 MAX final assembly line will happen in Everett, Washington, will be serving as a catalyst for increasing the MAX production to 52 jets per month. We had talked about this. Currently, the production rate stands at 47 jets per month. They want to increase it to 63 per month. That's their target, as said by the CEO of the company. And Ortberg and Boeing leadership have also set a long-term goal, like I mentioned, 63 per month. It's the supply chain that can support this increase. And with that, Boeing currently trading flat. It did have a bit of an uptick when the news just came out a couple minutes ago. Let's take a look at the second story for today. Amazon unveiled its latest warehouse robot. With that, Amazon is rolling out its next-gen warehouse robots that respond to natural language. Amazon has also, as we know it, laid off thousands of corporate workers, citing its plans to further invest more in artificial intelligence. And Amazon executive John Bomfrey has said in an interview that their experience of robots is that they have actually driven employment rather than reversing it. All right, that's an interesting take on that. Currently, Amazon also trading flat. And with that, Neil, I wonder what lesson you have for us today.
Thank you, Sia. Well, if you were trying to be long today, it probably wasn't easy. I think that goes without saying. You have a market where the futures are in an obvious trend down, and that trend was established not just at the open. We were gapped down, so that's already red. We were trending down in the pre-market. At the first available opportunity on the Qs here to bounce, in the first 3-minute candle, it rejected VWAP and headed back down. Basically, everything lined up that we were in the opening range weak. So if you were trying to buy, it was going to be more difficult. Days like today, that's what determines, if you're trying to dip buy, let's just say, that's what's going to determine how you're going to do in the long run. Because if you were shorting things, they were relatively easy. Like, I remember that at one point this morning, I was simply saying, you know, I liked one long, and you try to take your shots when you can, and you try to keep them really, really tight stops. And I know, like, I'll get criticized sometimes, like, yeah, but Neil, why you do a tight stop here or there? Because when you get into something to the long side in a downward trend, well, if you don't have that stop, look at the expansion. That's a 3x loss, and I'm using this as the first example. See how there's that first bounce? If you're trying to be a reversion trader or a bounce trader, unless you just magically pick that number out of thin air, like this low, you're probably getting entries around here. But if I leave it like that big of a stop, then what's gonna happen is my winning trades aren't gonna be able to back it up. Now look at the difference in the short. I like something to do along, you catch a reversion to bounce, give it a tight stop. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you're shorting something and you short a pop, like you'll get like topping tail and then just instantaneously, like someone was I'm pretty sure I was in and out of Q and T for almost $2 before you could even blink an eye. It went bounce off 55 even. The play was really 60, and then the even dollars at 55. You can't get to 60 short unless you were sitting in it. The breakdown of the pre-market low, again, was a swing and a miss because there was no liquidity. But the first available bounce, like I said, first bounce, gonna take it into VWAP, and then boom, you're already out. It's just instant. Getting the shorts and holding the shorts is gonna be easier. The thing about also too, like you can join shorts late. And even if I'm sitting there with not even great entry prices, and at the bottom of the move on IBIT, well, it just keeps on going lower. So I can be sloppy for entries, imperfect, not even getting tops, and you can still make money. You can't do that with the long side of the trade. And when you know there's an established direction to the short side, I'm not saying to be loose with your shorts. You can give them more room. You can be a little bit less particular. It's more important the other side of the trade that you keep things a little bit tighter to the vest when you're trying your longs. Like you take your shots. Again, like at NVIDIA, I didn't draw that very well. That's the all-day trend, which is useless. Looking at the bottom end of the trend, when I look for that trend line, keep it really tight to the vest, get your scalp trade, get in, get out, take your money, and it doesn't have to last very long, it just has to win. Intel was another one. Just get this little break, give it to the high, obviously at the short. If you're trying to get long, temper your expectations, scalp it, have some relatively tight stops if you have to. You know which direction, this was not ambiguous about what direction we were heading in. There wasn't. Gap down, trend down into the open, immediate selling of the first pop at that open. Like this was very clearly, it doesn't mean it was gonna go down forever, but it was very clearly a weak morning. So with the shorts, you could be short the first pop, short the consolidation, maybe not get the best prices, hold for a little bit, all of that stuff would work. But to the long side, the only way you're gonna be green today is if you limited the losses with like very, very tight stops. Am I giving this to the prior? No, tight stop. Take profit. Maybe in a situation where I would have thought Intel could go 2 or 3, I'm looking for 1. In a place where I think NVIDIA could go 2 or 3, I'm looking for 1. I'm just looking to get in and get out very quickly on that long trade. And it's just a bit of an adjustment. And a lot of times it helps you to navigate a weak day, because a lot of times if you're just sitting there and you're going to try to buy, like it's just, I've seen traders do this all the time. You like the dip buy, it's been working before, your brain is programmed that way. and you're just looking for it, so that's what you're going to take. It's hard for you to short at the bottoms. The best you can do is either get what available win is there with tight stops, or lose as little as possible. Those are your options on days like today, when the home run's not there for the buy the dip on the long. So you've got to be able to take what the market gives you. And in most cases, you don't know that it's that weak at 935 or 940. In this particular case, we had a very unique situation where you did have gap down, trend down, immediate fade at open on the futures. It's a pretty rare circumstance that you have gap down, trend down, immediate pop fade. We're being told that it was relatively weak, and so yes, my first trade was a short. But after that, I was looking for some longs, and it was really just about losing as little as possible and taking that quick profit. So there's your lesson of the day. You're not going to get it every single day where you'd have that kind of a setup in the morning where it looks like a short in that regard, or it just looks weak in that regard. Most days will not be that clear, but if it ever is, you can adjust your trading and your expectations on the long and your entry style on the short based on what the market is telling you. There's your lesson of the day. The lunch was okay. It was kind of like we said, like the spaghetti and bolognese. Solid. I didn't need all of the...
Bitcoin lost 60.
Bitcoin just broke 60? Oh my goodness. See what I mean? You could have just shorted anything on Bitcoin. Every short. It didn't even have to be particular about it. It just eventually worked out for you. Like it's insane. So a bit of a weekday. You have to be able to preserve capital if you're not just sitting in a short. Temper expectations on the longs. Keep some tighter stops. It was something we were talking about in the morning show, so make it an easy lesson for you guys. Good luck through the rest of your midday. Good luck to the market. 3% on the NASDAQ. Almost 2.9. I mean, might as well be 3. Wow.
All right, guys, as we zoom to the downside, huge shout out to VinFast for sponsoring today's video. They just announced a massive partnership with AutoBrains and NVIDIA to bring level 4 agentic AI to autonomous driving to life. We are talking next-gen intelligent tech that is completely redefining how we hit the road. If you want to see what the actual future of driving looks like, click the link in my description and check out VinFast today. Go check that out, guys. As the market, yes, is bleeding, but we do have, let's take a look at the best performing sectors here today.
Oh, what website is that, Joey?
Trust me, bro.
It's all right, it's all right. You see, well, we can see it up there, man. Everybody know.
Zoom in on that, man. We can't even read that, man. F11, that bad boy, man. My goodness.
My boy. Over there. Consumer defensive, 1.88%. Healthcare, guys, utilities, and real estate. Those are going to be your best performing here today. Guess who's at the bottom of the barrel? Tech sector, man, bang on that one, my boy. 4.5% to the downside.
That's an ugly
absolutely
one, Joey.
Insane. Dude, we actually have the TQQs down 8.6%. That is insane. I haven't seen the NASDAQ down that much in quite some time, but guess what?
What?
The market is a roller coaster ride. We've been zooming to the top, and then watch out for that big time drop. I don't know how deep it's going to be in all reality, guys. I know we have a little bit of fun with it, but we also have to accept the fact, Tina Man said that for the past couple of days, if you weren't aware that stocks go down, then, I mean, you got a rude awakening, man. Listen.
Yeah, we can't become myopic and just, come every day thinking things are going to move up. And
it's a luxury.
Should want these because, we should want these days because, which is going to lead me to my next question. Are you going to go shopping now that we've had a larger correction? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. I've mentioned it before, but listen, let's look at it from both sides here, Sharif. Sometimes when you go on these bull market runs, when you're fully allocated,
yes, sir.
And you're holding on to things, I understand the aspect is like, well, how do you expect me to buy things when things are on a discount if I'm not sitting on any cash?
Right.
Makes it more difficult,
of course.
Right? And if you happen to be sitting on some cash, then congratulations. congratulations, you get to buy some of these high quality names at lower prices. But for me right now, I went through the mistake of not having any cash on that previous run to the point where I'm like, hey, okay, we have some names that aren't performing as well. Let's reduce some exposure and sit on some cash for when these high quality names, the Googles, the Microns, start to come in a little bit. I have the opportunity to buy some. I made the mistake once. Our job is to not make it twice.
That's absolutely accurate, man. I mean, you have to. I think you hit that right on the head. Grandmother's Garden. Okay, first, just before I get that, the OG Bovin did point out LGPS. Come on. She's so embarrassing, these charts. Anyway, there it is. I hate you. LGPS, 95 pennies, dropping back down into 88. Keep your eye out on this one. It just had a volume spike, so it can retrace. We need to see more volume. We need more price discovery, but it's moving up, okay? Grandmother's Garden, Sharif, would you explain SOXL being a leveraged ETF? Is this when you would take that risk? I personally don't like holding leveraged ETFs as swings or investments because of the decay that comes with these. There's also, other issues. I just personally would go straight into SMH. That's how I would do it. And I also think that some of these leveraged ETFs as well, to kind of get that beta, they don't put all their investment or the majority of their investments. I don't know what SOXL is at the moment because it's actively managed, but sometimes they put it in treasuries and they put it in things that are nothing to do with the semiconductor industry. I haven't looked at SOXL's composition in a while, but I do know that they do typically do that. So my suggestion for myself, and it's never financial advice, is just to get into SMH. Do you have any comment about ETF decay and holding that for swings or?
Yeah, listen, it's great on the way up, horrible on the way down.
Okay.
Right? Again, you drop 25% in an underlying, you're catching 50% in the leverage if it's a 2x leverage. Right. And then now you need the actual underlying to gain 100%. So it needs to double from that aspect for you to even just get back to break even. They're great on the way up, disastrous on the way down.
There's some Tesla headlines.
Yeah, are we going back there? Let's fire it up.
TSLA below 400, and the information reporting that the company is pushing its Roadster demo to August. Again, we heard about this Roadster going back to, I believe, 2024. Apparently, the demo for this was scheduled for August. It's going to be pushed back. Now, apparently, the point of this demo was to showcase its work with SpaceX on a cold gas thruster system. For what it's worth, again, this is being reported by the information, which in the past has released reports that are later been proven to be maybe not the best contextualized or a little bit delayed in terms of their information. Either way here, the information sharing this report, TSLA pushing lower. Now we're going over to CF for small caps.
Thank you so much for that, Adira. Let's take a look at the board for today. IWM currently down 2.5% in the red. Let's talk about individual tickers. BE, let's start with that, 8.3% in the negative. No apparent news here, just seeing some momentum. Hut 8 Corp down 11% on the day, $4.25 billion of 6.129%. Senior secured notes will be financing its Beacon Point data center project. Next up, we have AGX is up almost 7% on the day. Revenue coming in for the quarter at $291 million. Net income at $46.1 million. Diluted EPS $3.24 and an adjusted EBITDA of $56.4 million. GIII, the G3 apparel group, up almost 8% today. Companies raising $850 million to fund the acquisition of Marc Jacobs, which LVMH has agreed to sell it to a joint venture, which this company is a part of. Q1 results have exceeded expectations as well, with $536 million in sales, and the fiscal 2027 guidance for the EPS has also been raised. With that, concludes your small cap. Sending it to the guys.
Great look there, Assassino, if we can. Who remembers this? Adira just brought us that headline with the Roadster. But who remembers the Falcon Heavy and the launching of the Roadster into orbit? I don't even know where this thing is, but it's actually in space. Let's play this. So this is the Falcon Heavy launch there, and this is real. This is from a while ago, but this car is still floating in space. And this dude here, I think they nicknamed him Spaceman or something like that. He's literally floating. And the reason they did this was obviously proof of concept, that Falcon Heavy could put, you know, payloads into space, but they've since moved on from the Falcon Heavy, obviously, for Starship. But this is super interesting. Like, this is still in orbit. I wonder if there's a website that actually tracks where the hell this thing is in the solar system right now. So, interesting look. This is, and you'll see, like, look at the shadows on his chest, like right there. You can see it moving. Like, that's the angle of the sun, obviously. And this is the Falcon Heavy launch. This is from years ago. How long ago is this? That's not fake, Fabian. It's 8 years ago. You're killing me, Fabian. It's not fake. It's just killing me. Yeah. All right, I gotta find out where the hell that Falcon Heavy is at, or sorry, where that Roadster is still floating around at the moment. Guys, stopped out of VVOS, more than break even, but it did break down. I held this one through. I wanted to see if it was going to hold that volume-weighted average price. It had a couple of candles that defended that 110, 115 level. It didn't. It failed. So I'm stopped out here, a little bit ahead of the break-even. So we give back a little bit off the top on VVOS, but there is not a whole lot that is good today. That isn't a short. Okay, at least in the world of small cap gappers, there's not much moving. Fabian, where are you, Fabian? People want to know if you're a flat earther. Yes or no? Of course he's not. Of course not. So I'm an all-earther. There you go.
Is that a thing?
I love this guy, bro. He's actually good vibes, man.
Yeah, Tesla's. I mean, Fabian's good stuff.
Absolutely.
I want to bring up something.
Go ahead, Joey.
Neil brought it to my attention. Now it's our job to bring it to yours. Look at this massive volume spike here in Bitcoin, and it bounces right off of this roughly 33.85 marker. That's a lot of shares. This is going to be your largest volume print on the day. And then here it is, man. You're going to, like, want to hope and pray a little bit that you get some form of a bounce here on Bitcoin. If not, it's going to get really ugly for quite some time. You're already in a year, almost a year downtrend. When did we start? October, a couple months away, and then it's just straight a year to the downside. When did this come into play? January of 24. I told you guys I was buying this up, so it's just multiple years of just dead money. We took a little bit off around here, and then we took some more off there, and then on the way down, we just offloaded some more. I was mentioning the fact that, full disclosure, I had approximately 400 shares of this thing in my long-term account. I have now reduced that to 100 shares. So really dropping the size on the way down here in Bitcoin. With that being said, that puts me in cash. What else did I offload a little bit off of? Netflix. So gives me a little bit more. So why? We're going to grab some of these hot AI trade names off of the pullback. Now, Google. What are we down? We're down 10%. We had a high of around 13% to the downside. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Sharif, we're literally down less, like 4% in the NASDAQ off of the highs. So if things start to get a little bit uglier, be prepared, man. You're going to have to put on those diamond hands and those gloves to just have to sit through some of this plane. You want 10%?
I want 10% off.
Yeah, that would be.
You go shopping.
That would be more ideal.
As long as it's not structurally negative, where there is like a fundamental change.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But if it's regular, pullbacks.
So what I believe, man, is like come next earnings season, right? Like what is going on from a CapEx standpoint? We already have a pretty good outlook. Are they going to be increasing things? There's just too much money funneling between these top players, in my opinion, for us to not continue for the next little while. And then when they start to cool down on CapEx, what I do believe we will see, Sharif, is somewhat of a selling scenario happen. But what does that mean? Now these guys are going to go cash heavy once again. We've seen Amazon deplete a lot of their free cash flow in this build out. Google's running to the debt markets, but what happens when they start to build these things? And the reason why Apple is remaining strong is because they haven't been CapEx heavy. So if we like them when they're spending all of this money, I like them when they're starting to accumulate.
You're absolutely right. Everything you said is right, but let's not forget that Apple now has changed their financial position about not being cash neutral, right? They could take on more debt because of the CapEx. They haven't really, Apple, man, super secretive. We're not going to hear it until it's typically happened. Yeah, we get some inklings from Ming-Chi Kuo and some other, insiders that leak some stuff. But I think certainly we're probably going to see a little bit more capital expenditures from Apple in 26, in 27. And I don't think that's such a bad thing, Joe. This is a product company. They got to have a lot of money thrown into R&D in order to come up with that next thing, right?
So I was just using it as the example of because it's like, hey, they're the individual who hasn't been spending money, what happens when these big boys stop spending as much money as well, too? So, yeah, I agree, right? Like, we want to see this company take the next step in either the wearables or what is that next real hardware device. Like,
whatever it is.
Bring us that, because you have the cash, you have everything at your helm for you in order you to do so and just really take a stranglehold. No one even knows what Zuck's doing. I don't even know why this conversation brings to the conversation. I'm kind of getting the feels here, Sharif, of a Metaverse 2.0.
Wow, that's a statement. That's a statement. You're thinking the AI CapEx is akin to the metaverse and their reality labs?
Yeah, so let me bring this to you.
Go.
So we know why Google's spending, right? They have the demand. They need more compute so they can generate more tokens for Gemini and all the tools that come with Gemini.
Yes, sir.
Azure, a little bit of that stock has been hit, but Amazon Web Service providing that for other companies who need that, the OpenAIs, the Anthropics, everyone else.
Exactly, yeah.
No one's using Meta's tools.
You called it.
Right? So no one's using these tools. So, hey, man, are you going to have like this glut of compute that you're not necessarily doing with what Elon Musk is doing with XAI, renting it out the cloud space? I think it's a completely different story if people were like all over MuseSpark and all over the wearables. They're not.
They're not.
So I think that's a little bit, that's the major difference, I believe, in what's going on.
Yeah, no, you bring up some solid points there. Zuck is eating bugs in his backyard like the other crab people. Why'd I read that without reviewing it first?
Isn't that a Futurama thing?
I don't know what it is. Go ahead, Adara.
I have nothing to say about crab people. I just want to know if he's going to collaborate with T-Pain again for another deeply uncomfortable cover of a 2000 song to give to his wife. Every time I hear Get Low, I can only ever hear Mark Zuckerberg's weird croon. So yeah, if you haven't heard that also, please check it out.
Yeah, I do remember that. Shout out to Priscilla, man. She puts up with a lot.
Is that his wife?
Yeah, cool.
I would put up with a lot of my.
Yeah,
my
if you had that money,
I would.
No, but she's like, I think she's a day one though. I'm not 100% sure.
She's a day oneer?
She might be.
Damn.
She might be. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. We can go back and check that. But anyway, top VoIP, voice over internet protocol. Shout out to my man Sharif. Triple Q is down 50 from the June 3rd high. Let that sink in. 50 loss in 2 days. I get it, brother, but we've seen this story before. You take the escalator on the way up and you take the elevator on the way down. How many times have we seen that only to recover and make all-time highs? Should we show him the chart?
Show him, man.
Should we show him the chart?
Pull it up, man.
Let me pull up the chart.
That's crazy.
Okay, Assassino.
Hold on, remind them that you collect a 73-cent dividend. Let them know.
Wait, man. I'm going to show you guys the monthly chart on the triple Qs, okay? This is what it is, guys, all right? I'm sorry, it's freezing here, and there's nothing I can do about that. But this is it. Like, sorry, here it is. It populates from 2007. If you get worried about investing in the NASDAQ, if you get worried about putting your money in the S&P 500, throw on the chart and go to the monthly. Is there anything else to say?
No, other than please sell more so I can buy it. Listen, don't make the mistakes that we did. That's the whole point of us being here, is that if you have the ability to lock in some profits and sit on some cash, there's going to probably be a good opportunity to buy a little bit more. Not telling you what to do, but just be prepared for that scenario.
And that's the thing too. Like, when I started saving, when I sold the car last year, I had a decision to make. Did I want to hoard the money in cash or even put it into a shorter dated treasury, grab a couple of, sorry?
Who's that up there?
Oh, yeah. Grab a couple.
You
look back the wrong way. We love you, SSA. No, there was somebody on the screen that Joey was enamored with. That was all. My bad. No, but I had to make the decision. I'm like, do I put this in shorter dated treasury? Mm-hmm. And the reason I was asking myself this question is because I had a 2-year window, 2.5-year window before I wanted to get the house.
For sure.
So I had to ask myself, what if there's a market downturn? and I lose 25% in a shorter time frame, 25, 30% of my investment. Of course, I'm a big believer in that 10-year, 15-year, 20-year picture where that obviously is compounding returns.
Absolutely.
But, so that was a decision that I had to make, right? And there wasn't an easy decision to make either, right?
I totally agree. No, like, again, for me now as well, Sharif, it's been a long time since I sit on cash for a little bit, but I tried to deploy it at the time. I don't have, literally, if you hold cash for too long, if you just put it into your account, you lose money just due to the fact of inflation, right? Like as everything continues, so it's just not really worth it to just hoard it for a long period of time because it's not doing anything for you. Now, just going a couple months or a year or so of just slowly building it so you can buy something, I think that's the more or less ideal game plan that you need to look at.
Why are you laughing, Asesino? All right, we gotta throw it up to Sia, but I love Asesino, man.
Let's take a look at the board today. There is weakness across the sector and the market. We're seeing a lot of bleeding. Final day of trading this week. Tesla pushing its roadster demo to August, and also analyst comments neutral from underweight by JP Morgan, currently trading down 4.53%. NVIDIA has made, this is just a quick cool fact, it's made the list of companies alongside Google, Microsoft, and Apple that exceed India's profits of the Nifty 50 that it generates. It's pretty cool. Senator Elizabeth Warren also has invited Jensen Huang to testify before the Senate Banking Committee on the 11th of June with a focus on NVIDIA's China business and U.S. export controls. Seeing a lot of that, NVIDIA in China going on all around. Oracle also, where is it? Down almost 9% on the day. No news here. Yeah, Adara and I were speaking about it earlier as well. Meta down. Apple trading flat, Microsoft down almost 2%. Health sector, however, looking pretty strong over there. Reuters reporting that the GLP-1 will be hitting $150 billion in the year 2030. This coming from TD Cowen. So that's a pretty good look for Lilly, right? With that, sending it back to you.
Yeah, these GLP-1s, man, I think we're just scratching the surface here. You know, we've spoken about this before, but they're being studied now for substance abuse addiction. We're talking alcohol, we're talking drugs, gambling as well, being studied for that. The efficacy for those labels, I don't know if they're quite there yet, but potential TAM expansion, that's what I'm thinking there. And then you also have retatrutide, which is going to come out probably in the next year from Eli Lilly. It's in phase 3, very promising. Retatrutide phase 3 study came out, I think, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, something like that. This drug is already being used heavily in fitness and bodybuilding. So there's already all this off-label knowledge, you know, aside from the phase 3 trial and everything that Lilly is doing. So I think it's going to be big. But you know, you never really know how these things are going to be. But that's kind of the look there. Guys, I worked in the SOAR. The pickings are slim at the moment, so I'm trying to work into this one, but I also want to mention SPHL. Why would you do that?
Bro, you said
don't time him out.
He got a minute, man. He said I'm missing him. Timeout right away.
So why? That's not even that bad.
I didn't say any crazy activity like that, man. Around these days.
Leave my boy alone, man. Free Jesse.
It was my boy first.
Free Jesse,
man. 60 seconds. You say anything along those lines to me, my boy.
Look at what people are saying here, Joey. Reta is amazing, says Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna know pretty shortly whether it is or not.
Milo dog. What's up, man?
So this is SPHL. Look, it's still trading below the volume-weighted average price, but it did find a little bit free, my boy, says Milo. It did find a little bit of a move here off that 5 1/3, now moving into 7. There is resistance at 7, and I want to bring your attention to that white line above 7. That is always the volume-weighted average price on my charts, which is showing about 7 1/5, 7 1/4. So we got to clear there before we start getting involved with this one. But SPHL, very aggressive move on the day. Keep your eye out on this one. It could recover. And for the individual who was telling me about, you know, the Qs are down 50. So this is the monthly. Again, we already showed this, but I want to show the daily. This is how far off the daily. Guys, look at this parabolic move from the end of March, March 30th. Let's do this here, Joey. March 30th low, to the high of a few days ago, the entire market moved 34 2/3%. It stands to reason that we at least get a move back down to 700 or something. I mean, I just think that that's normal price action. I don't think that this is the end of the good days or anything like that. That's just my opinion, obviously. But SPHL in focus here, still holding SOAR. I'm looking for SOAR to kind of move above that 41 penny area. If it loses 37.5 pennies, I'm sorry, the charts are acting up again. It's Friday, maybe they're tired. 37.5 pennies on SOAR. I stop out. That's a local area low. I'm looking for this one to kind of stay above the 10 EMA and try to take out that 41. And then if we're really, really get going here, looking at that 43 1/3, which is the high of the day at the moment. But guys, the pickings are slim in the world of small cap gappers, so we will have to be selective here, Joey, going into the afternoon.
Absolutely, man. All right, so there it is. We have Walmart right back at the high. There was a good reload opportunity at the volume-weighted average price. I was thinking about doing it. This isn't a name where you play momentum into the high of the day break, even though you can, but what I would do is just, if it punches through, wait for a pullback and then engage. Excuse me. So for me, doing that specific play isn't it right now. Let's head over to the TQQQs, as we've been sitting in this since 79.40. And what are we trading at right now? 77.12. All right, so we'll hit that there, and then the Katina man on that one. As it's just bleeding. Support level break, you have that key definitive level at 79.40. We're playing the breach of it, especially with how some of the larger companies were performing here today. Let's send things over to Adara.
Keep an eye, guys, on ASML. Business Insider reporting that Elon Musk, yes, that Elon Musk, will be pitching SpaceX's TeraFab chip moonshot to ASML employees. Once again, Business Insider saying that Elon Musk will pitch SpaceX's TeraFab chip moonshot to employees at ASML. Of course, this timing pretty serendipitous here because SpaceX is set to IPO next week, 1 week from today. You?
What does that mean? He's just pitching them to invest?
I don't have further details yet.
Oh, what the hell?
Maybe he's like, hey man, maybe you can build.
Oh, I see it right there. It says Elon Musk will pitch SpaceX's TeraFab chip moonshot to employees at ASML. What are the employees running the company? Well, what is happening there? I don't understand. Okay.
Maybe we'll get them behind it. Anyways,
You gotta cover super chats when you're done.
Go over super chats. I mean, we're just bleeding here. We're down 5% in the overall. We're close to 5% now at this point, especially with the Nasdaq continuing to slide. Tesla south of 400, and then we have Meta running into that $600 marker. Man, it's ugly in the tech space. It was hot for some time. Be prepared for some more selling.
We got to go back to Adara.
Let's go back there.
A little bit more context here. So we know ASML CEO Christophe Foucault has previously indicated that he really wants to work, or he wants his company ASML to work with SpaceX. Now, apparently next week there's going to be a fireside chat with Christophe Foucault and our friend Elon Musk. It'll be next Thursday. Apparently during that chat, Elon Musk is really going to push that new chip. That's what I'm hearing. If they get more details, I'll let you know. But again, keep an eye on ASML next Thursday when this fireside chat is set to occur vis-a-vis Moonshot. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. All right. Thank you very much to Random Oddities. In April, for the $10 super chat, thank you very much for that. In April, Burry bought a large amount of SOXX in January 2027 puts, or he has, January 2027 puts at a 330 strike. This is probably your world here. Wondering what they are going for in April and where SOXX needs to go by end of year for him to profit. Joey?
Pull him up. Pull up.
So SOXX.
Yeah, I have that.
January 2027, 330 strike.
Puts, right?
Yes.
Can we get it up on the screen, maybe, Assassino?
Me?
No, Assassino. If I want him to put it up here. Who's it by? Who's the super chat by?
By Random Oddities.
By Random Oddities?
Random Oddities for $10.
Let's get right into that, man, and get our conversation going on with this specific subject. So, I'll just read it one more time. Puts at 330.
Yep.
He bought a large amount of puts at 330 that are going to be expiring January 2027. Wow. Okay. I mean, that's an interesting, very interesting play. Those are, like, I don't even, there's a term that I was going to say, but those are extremely hella out of the money there, man. As that is not good. I don't know what he bought them for, wondering what they're going to do at that $330 marker. We can head over and see what they are and then take a look at the actual chart in itself. 6 in January 27. There it is. This is the expiration. He bought these 330s. I mean, you can pull up the advanced chart. We're not going to get any data on them, really, I don't think, at this point. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more difficult to tell what's actually... Oh, here it is. Okay, that's not too bad. So, I mean, if you bought them a while ago, they haven't lost too much value. Like, you're looking at $19 and you're currently trading at that level. Guys, don't forget, when you are trading options contracts and you have something, like, extremely outdated like this, you don't need underlyings to trade in the money. You don't need it to go south of 330 or head to $330. What can happen here is that, hey, you go on these big runs, he's buying something so far out of the money as it's continuing to climb, it's like, okay, you experience an aggressive pullback. He can still profit from that if he's in at the right place at the right time. I would need to know a little bit more information, but don't forget, when you are trading options, just because you buy something so far out of the money, like these 330 strikes, you don't need it to trade to $330 to gain profit off it. Why? Because think about the two things that contracting is derived from: intrinsic and extrinsic value, time value, and the moneyness. Those only have time value right now, and it seems from the description that you've told me, that's the objective. It's time money, and then sell them to some schmuck, as Sharif would say, who believe that it's going to continue to move a little bit lower once he's already profited off of just holding the contracts themselves.
All right, I tried SPHL. Failed attempt. We got a couple of profit takers, had to lose about 15 pennies per share on this one. So we'll give back a little bit here. SPHL was trying to make a move above the volume weighted average price. It looks like it kind of rejected a little right back down. Bovin is saying SUGP is moving up, and it is right. It is at the day high right now. Pardon me. It's at the day high at around 90 pennies. Still light on volume generally for a 90 penny name, but it's done, I believe, 1.81 million shares. It's ripping Bovin into 99. SUGP is on its horse here and could see that dollar sooner rather than later. The volume is starting to come in. It's not great yet, but I'm going to keep a close eye on this one, especially since there's not much going on. SUGP, the ticker I'm talking about. But I'm keeping a close eye here on SPHL, especially if it takes out prior bar high, which is at 836. It was a really aggressive seller between 36 to 33, and that's where I got the prints there, but it ended up failing that level. So if it continues up, takes out prior bar high, shows me that that move above the volume weighted average price wasn't just a bull trap. I'll get back involved with this, and then we could see $10. And it was, in fact, we've already seen $10 on the day, because for SPHL, the HOD on the intraday is 1071. But SUGP should be in focus as well. Shout out to code named Ed. He's dropping 2 in the chat. We're going to thank him for that. Assassino, can we throw that one on there? That was me, always in the money, now easy money. The money, shout out to code named Ed. Thank you for the $2 super chat there, brother, and the chuckle. Continuing to watch here. Here comes SPHL. It's on its horse. It might take out the prior area high. That's another rejection at that level. We're going to get in small shares here, and we're going to look to defend. So we got 32s essentially right at the high, showing 28s. Let's see if this is going to be a double top rejection or whether I'll be able to pick some up off 7 3/4. The current bar low is 745, so essentially around that 7.5 area. Light shares here initially because you're getting in at the highs, so it's always risky. That obviously means that if it goes, you're going to have to add at the highs as well. Otherwise, you're going to exhaust your shares. Another attempt there to take out the prior area high, which failed. So continuing to watch here, Joey. Let's see if we can pick up some off that area low. There it goes into 40. 44s, what the beak there, looking for 50, not immediately clear. If we're going to be able to get 50, you might as well just post at 48. I'm also going to wait at 69. Let's see if we can get something above there, but there we go, right back into the 30s, and well, okay, into the 40s again. That's another move there into 48s. Didn't get the print, didn't cross. Now we get it into 50. It goes. Good continuation here on SPL, Joey, but we're still not out of the woods.
Good stuff, man. Just a little notification there. All right, let's see. There it is, guys. 5% to the downside here in the NASDAQ. We're still holding on to this TQQs. We have Walmart heading towards the high of the day. I do like this for a move a little bit north than where we're currently trading at. We could head over to the staples in the top performing sectors. If you're not about this bleeding, then where are you going to find signs of strength? I know we've been talking about it quite often, but it's the consumer defensive that's up 2% here today, guys. And then at the bottom of the barrel right now, 5 1/3 here on the tech sector. Utilities holding up, real estate and healthcare. Consumer cyclical, not performing well. Energy, same thing. And materials, 1.6 to the downside %, that is. So yeah, be patient, guys. I don't know if today's going to be the session where you're trying to pick bottoms. If you have been, then it's been an absolute horrible time. This Tesla's now at 396, Meta's down to 609, and we're looking for this $600 level to hold. We're going to head over to our options chain here and see what we have going on with that specific strike price, which I was referring to this morning. It's just that head over to this June 18th expiration cycle, and we'll see how we've been holding up, and has that size increased at that specific strike price, which is really important to know, because if that breaks, then you have to reassess the situation. That's not it. That's not the cycle. And here it is. Oops, there it is. What were we looking at? 12,000. So smaller, right? Like we were looking at 13,000. You have some positions being closed, some people getting wiped out. But Sharif, I really want to point this out. Okay. This is why writing can be so dangerous. And when I refer to writing, I'm talking about selling options. Because in the span of one day, you've had this specific, if you're on the opposite side of this trade, you've lost as much money as you could have potentially collected just naked, right? So if you happen to have 60,000 cash at that specific level and you decided to write one contract, well, congratulations. I'm being sarcastic here. That one contract went from $500 to now $1,100, okay? So that's where you have to be really cautious, and being patient is important, especially when you are writing. So you would have to get out of this position and then re-engage in it once again to collect $1,100 from that decay standpoint. It's pretty attractive at these levels, if you ask me, and we still have the options market pricing in a 70% chance that these contracts are gonna expire OTM. But once again, we were talking about it not too long ago, 114%. When I documented this last night, that specific contract gave you a over 100% return. And if you're a writer, that's completely against you. And it's really difficult to sit through that type of volatility.
Great advice, Joey, and sound advice as well. SPHL into $0.75. We've got the third on here. I'm still looking at defending key levels. We've got a lot of volume exchanging hands here, right around the $0.50, about 23.5, almost 23.5 million shares so far. Back into the 60s it goes. We already got 69 for I think it was Ostentatious Productions. I was finding that a little bit funny. Here we go. Seller locally here at 60. So technically we are putting in some lower highs here as we come right back down into my entry. Crap. Trying to flip to the 5-second chart. Let me go. No, you piece of IB, bro. IB. It just the premier platform over here. 850 seller, big 850 seller coming in here. That's a problem. They just got killed. Back into 60s we go. Looking for more, man. Let's go. It's such a thick trade today. Anything long is super difficult. You can feel that. So we're gonna have to wet the beak at lower areas than I typically would have liked. How many shares do we have left? We still got a lot of shares, so we're good. Looking for a bigger move here into the 80s. I still have 88s that went unprinted. We did get 77s. We didn't get 88s. We got 77s and 69s. We didn't get 88s quite yet, nor did, of course, did I get anything above 9. So there's a lot of resistance. There's, it's been above this area obviously before, so there's bag holders as well as shorts that are trying to base their entry off those previous area highs. But it's an epic struggle right now between longs and shorts at this 8 2/3, $8.50 level, Joey. So interesting look there. By the way, SUGP halted up. Shout out to the OG Bovin. 108 halt time, 12:44.02. Earliest open, 12:49.02. Current time, 12:48.24. As we come right back down into this area, that's going to end the trade for me there, as it will fail. And right down it goes. Nice catch. Okay, that was really good. Come on, that was really good. I mean, I got the hell out of there before the dollar flush, right? All the way down it goes. You can just smell these coming away, bro. Just smell the way that the level 2 starts setting up, man. So we make a little bit on that one. Not the greatest trade, of course. We didn't even get $1, but, you know, not too bad. So what are we going to look at here? Now we can focus on SUGP. But by the way, SPHL is not done. There's a lot of zig and zag. This one above 9 could really open up. SUGP open, Bovin. All right, here we go. Let's give this one the old community college try. I stop out below $1. Let's watch. Do I get to pick this up for cheap? Let's watch the defending of the dollar here. 105, 104 stepping in. Let's go. We're going to go 98. Let's see if we can get something. Oh, we'll go 97s. Right around there. So what do we got? We got 6s. Let's go ahead and post something at 9s. We're going to post a little bit of 11s just to catch these quick price spikes up. And then I'll stop out, quite frankly, if it loses the dollar. So we'll see how this cookie crumbles. But we saw this one also rip up earlier. Let's see if it's got the juice. No, right back down. I stop out immediately. So someone comes up with a big sell order there, immediately takes me out, and then halting down now into 91 pennies, false halt into 91, still holding 90 above the volume weighted average price. Let's see what this one wants to do. Does it want to hold 90? Because VWAP is right at that 90 area. Wow, that was an epic stop. Right back above the dollar. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, there's something big going on here right now because we had Wally's World just flush Tank City off of that high of the day break, but then now we're starting to get the same print. Gaurav, where are you, Gaurav? I need you right now at this moment. Here it is. Volume increase in the Qs. Volume spike, guys, across the board. So when we see it on multiple names, let's wait for this market to turn around. And I think there's going to be a good opportunity if the volume, so that's that 5-minute candle is already printed, all right? But that's going to be the second largest volume print of the day, relatively close. That could be potential stopping power right now, all right? And stopping volume. So this is stopping power. It's crazy. Anyway, stopping volume. So there could be somewhat of a retracement play coming in. And also, I was looking at IBIT 3442 for a potential breakout. Massive volume at the low of the day at that key support level. So be patient, wait for things to turn around. When you have that momentum to the downside, again, I use this speedboat in a cruise ship analogy. Speedboat can turn around relatively fast. Cruise ship takes a lot larger. The bigger the actually asset is, the longer it can take to turn around, okay? So let's be patient to see if we're gonna get any form of a bounce. I don't even know if VWAP's in the neck of the woods, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see buyers start to step back in. Now, we have a $10 super chat. Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Have been tuning in when there was kid pics next to Sean's head. Became devoted at 40K subscribers. Watched you join. Your growth has been amazing. Adara, a pro, Obi, a meme, Joseph, a dog, Andy. Thanks, Andy.
I love this guy, bro. What is going on? I was like, I do know. I always see his name in the chat, by the way.
I was asking him like a dog in a good way, I figured, man. All right, shout out to Andy. Is it my dog?
Milo, maybe?
Milo?
Yeah, possibly.
Joseph, a dog. No, I think he meant like I'm a dog in itself, right?
Like in a good way, though.
In a good way.
Sure. I think
because you know what they say.
Here we go, Joey.
Go ahead, buddy.
There goes SUGP. It's Rip City here, Bovin. Shout out to the OG Bovin, man. I don't care how many times I call out Bovin. We're giving free advertising for Bovin frickin' Patel. Shout out to my man. In at 101. It's Rip City now into 118. We're taking prints. We're looking for more. Let's go 121 for the next profit taker there. Into 19 it goes, but no continuation. Actually, it was 18. Sorry. I thought it flashed 19s. They're super quick. There's an aggressive seller here. Bovin, what's the level? He's laughing. Bovin, what's the level you were telling me earlier that this one had a resistance? I just don't have the ability to look at the TA at the moment is I have to look at the level 2. So just tell me what you were looking at there as a local area resistance. But this one did stop me out initially. So we're 1 for 1 here. Let's see if we can go positive. Am I negative on this? No, I'm positive on it now. Good, good, good. Looking for a little bit more. 118 showing up. It feels like this one's accumulating for a top break. You can never really be too sure. And there it goes into another area high. Give me my money, man. 125 we're going to post, Joey. And now we're going to limit up, Bovin. Maybe. Let's see if this is going to be a false halt. Bovin says 125 resistance. We're at 123 now, Bovin. That is the high. Showing halt 122. We are halted. The high
Where's Gorev, man?
Where's Gorev? This guy's going through withdrawals, bro.
Yeah,
I need Gorev.
Yeah, where is this guy?
Gorev.
We're going to try this big dog.
Adrian.
Hey, yo, Adrian.
Hey, yo, Adrian. S. Dot about to take out 14, says the OG Bovin. Let's have a look at the dot. We were trading the dot yesterday. It was okay to us. I mean, you know, there were times where, yeah, Bovin, it's just really light, bro. The volume is super light. Goodness gracious, these charts are going to end me today.
Oh.
That was a quick second hour, too, though. That felt.
Stop.
I'm just saying. Because usually, what Joey and I always talk about the first hour going by like this, but the last hour is always like the slow one. But today feels like everything's moving.
It's a looker outside, man. I might hit the old canoe. Are you a big? I know you and your Temu water jet skis, but do you like outside?
They're not from Temu, jerk. They're from China. Not everything from China is from Temu.
Do you like canoeing and kayaking
bro.
and stuff? I remember you went.
Activity, I'm right down.
Your aunt's up in Keswick.
Always,
you're
bro.
hitting,
Always. We got a whole bunch of stuff up there, man. She buys. She's a big garage sale lady. So you know when you live in a city by the water, there's a lot of stuff like that.
The garage sale,
right?
people,
Coming from the garage sale. So she's got quite a bit. She's got kayaks, canoes.
Good, man.
We got paddle boards, Joey. I just want to bring up that electric paddleboard, though. Have you not seen this thing? This thing is a vibe. Not the one I'm talking about, not the jet ski.
Yeah, not the
This
jets.
one that you stand on top. It's battery powered.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. All right.
From the same great people you so callously just maligned there for not that long ago, Joey. All right.
Did you get who is you?
Who is you? It's Bovin, pronounced B Haven. Says Timothy. I spoke to Bovin before, and he told me that I was pronouncing it correctly. Bovin, am I saying it correctly, or is there a pronunciation change that I need to enact here?
I always thought it was
Let me know.
to be honest, because I used to have
you
a
already
friend
told me
named
that, but we checked it with him. I'm saying it yes. I'm saying it right.
Yeah, there
the
we
OG
go.
himself confirmed it, bro. So come on now. This guy, Timothy, man. He's trying to bully me, Joey.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
Robert Kraft. That's wrong. That's so wrong. Do you know that story?
What was that
You don't
place
know
called
about
again?
that story, do you?
Yeah, I know. What
About
was the place?
the Patriots
what,
owner?
What was the place
I don't remember
called
the
again?
name of the place.
Who?
Robert Kraft at a massage
Didn't
opportunity log.
Bill
quantum
Belichick's girlfriend wore a T-shirt to the game of the spa? Remember that?
Yeah. I remember she's embarrassed him a
just
couple
trolling.
of times though, right? Like
Well, I
some
mean,
of
what
the
do you
stuff she
expect?
says too. Like such a big age difference. It's a little funny, but.
Hey, man,
It is
Joe
what it
knows
is.
the address. That's crazy, man.
Let's get to the super. We already got to that one. Let me like that one. That was funny. Shout out to JKL.
Yeah, Orchids of Asia. Yeah.
Greg Trail, 3491. He's dropping 5 in the chat, Assassino. I'm back with more Seinfeld movie trivia. Sharif, what character in Toy Story series did George's mother... Bro, that's not a Seinfeld question, bro. That's not a Seinfeld. You're taking Seinfeld characters off the movie and now asking me stories about them? No, come on, man. I can't get that one. Guys, you don't have to super. Just tag me with the Seinfeld trivia. I'm pretty good at this. I'll get most of them. I only got tripped up on one yesterday.
Look what's up there.
What is it?
Toy Story.
Toy Story. That's fantastic, Joe. Your Seinfeld buddy dated. Okay, yes, I do know that, but that was like I don't know. I have no comment on that, okay? Don't get me involved in that. Seinfeld sucks. 6 Degrees of Seinfeld. Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head. Mrs. Potato Head. Everybody's answering the question for me there. I have no idea what the lovely Mrs. Costanza was doing there off off the thing. Shut all pipes. Yeah, shut it to random oddities. BNAI still got a bounce here. So I'm looking at it, man. It's still in the side chart, but it's not to my liking. It breached VWAP and then it immediately dropped a little bit lower. Sorry, the charts are going to freeze, guys. So yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. But BNAI, it looks okay. So does SPHL. Mind you, it's trying to make a move above the volume weighted average price again, but we're still involved in this SUGP halt up 70 and change percent. What was the name of Mr. Costanza? Oh, that's a good one. It's Frank Costanza. That's the name of the dad and his brother. Yes, because it was long lost brother. Okay, I just have to take this print because SGUP is open. Here we go, Bovin. We're showing 30. Boom. More highs, Bovin. 33. Here we go, 35. Let's go, Bovin. It's Print City. Now we're going to start taking less. Into 40 we go. We screwed up here. No, that's not what we want to do. Into 41. Limit up again. Into 140. Go, SUGP. This could be a false halt right now. Watch out, guys. SUGP ramping up in 95.42%. We're showing limit up. 40. Halt. Limit up. Joey, what a move up here for SUGP. Big boy moves. He did mention his name in that episode when they brought him the picture. They were at the restaurant, and then he was talking about how they split up. You know, one came. Oh man, I don't remember his brother's name. That was a tough one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Okay, so that's a second one there. I'd love to know, does anybody know? I can use chat. Let's find out.
Yeah, put it on chat there. I'm going to talk what we got going on here with TSLL. We're still holding on to the short here in the NASDAQ. We're deep ITM on this, so we're not going to complain about it. But let's head over to TSLL and see what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, slowly starting to work for us. What are we in at? 1330. We're printing 18s right now. You can see that we're probably going to print 19s momentarily, especially if this bounce is sustained. We just want to see how deep it's going to be. When you see the same signal across the board with multiple stars aligning, you have to take the trade whether it's going to work or not. I was already in the NASDAQ. Could I have flipped short? The issue being, I don't know if the risk to reward is even worth it. Because, I mean, I guess it is the more that I think about it. I wasn't holding on to anything like 10% of the position. You get out of that and you look for a bounce with an extremely tight stop, then maybe you can make it worth your while on there. But I mean, I've seen the same signal here on Tesla. Meta not printing the exact same price action candles, but you can see the floor being held at 608, and then SPY and the NASDAQ holding correlating prints, all right? And there goes Bitcoin. So we were selling aggressively at the end of the day. I mean, at the beginning of this session, sorry. Excuse me, and then now we're starting to engulf that one volume print, and it was just AC Slater to that one there, Sharif, as we just really, that one specific candle, it's an engulfing print, just really covered that whole range, which is pretty good. And I mean, we're talking about a $35 hold on IBIT. That being said, before we send it back to Sharif, let's take a look at the options chain on IBIT to see if any of the open interest metrics or volume metrics have really changed. You're going to see an uptick in implied volatility up to 102%. But let's head over to this expiration cycle right here. I might this be a witching date, but $30, 67,000, but 62,000. We were talking about this marker holding up by this time, by this expiration. So let's see if it's going to or not. If it breaks and this person capitulates or just decides to dump their position, watch out for 30 bucks. If it's at 30 bucks, I'm going to be looking to grab a little bit more of this because I offloaded at a higher price. Why would I not start to buy it $10 lower? And by all means, we say this all the time, you don't go all in at once. You grab a couple percentage points here, you grab a couple percentage points there, and by that time, you've worked your way into a full position months down the road. And when things start to turn around, that gives you the ability, if and when there's going to be some form of exponential move within Bitcoin to the top side, you're going to be positioned at the price that you want to. So don't chase this falling knife just yet, or if you are going to, start slow and build into it.
Oh, you're talking about that? What celebrity? John Voight, brother. So he bought the LeBaron off John Voight, but it was spelled differently. It was spelled J-O-H-N, so it ended up being the dentist, but the actor actually spelled his name J-O-N. And then Jerry pointed out that to him in the car, and then he kicked Jerry out of the car because he pissed him off. And then Jerry just basically had to fend for himself there. That was so good, man. What chocolate syrup is George's? Oh, Bosco, bro. That's easy, man. The whole episode with the ATM. That's easy pickings right there. Come on, man. Bosco. And then the mom of, I think it was Elaine's boss. What was Elaine's mom's Elaine's boss name? Mr. Peterman. And his mom was dying, and then her secret lover, his name was Bosco, and she screamed his name as her last word, right? Jay Peterman, there we go. I hear he's trying. Get it, TT Mass, man. I've only missed 2, right? By the way, I searched up George's dad's name, and it says it was never disclosed. In the Seinfeld universe, Frank Costanza actually has a brother named Mo, referred to as George's Uncle Mo, who passed away at a young age. If you're thinking of George's long-lost sibling, George mentions his brother. No, I think the AI misunderstood me there. What are the general rules for investing in IPOs? That's actually a really good question, man.
So.
I don't have a general specific set of rules, but what I typically like to follow are companies that were doing very well in the private market. Sorry, I just have to pause here because we're open. We're going to hold down here on Sugar Cup. I'm going to hold this into the halt. Let's take a little bit of a beak wetter there. It's not going to give it to me probably. Let's see if we can get it. No, it's not going to give it to me. So I will be caught in this down hold. I have 101s. It's going to hold at 126, so that's all right. You know, it gives me some room. Let's see if this one pops back up, right? We give a little bit off the top there. We're still holding some shares. Let's see how Sugar Cup here, I don't even know if that's the name of the company, actually trades upon resumption. What was the question? What are the general investing? So, do you have specific rules that you go by?
I thought we would do something pretty fun here. Sure. We're gonna need the chaps. We're gonna need the chat's help. So if I forget an IPO of 2025 and Sharif forgets an IPO of 2025 or earlier this year, please put it in the chat. Give us a list of some of the IPOs. But what we're gonna do right now, Sharif, is just go through some of the names, right? CRWV. And what am I doing? It's just like, hey, look. I know they had Steve Tauman on yesterday talking about waiting multiple years. CoreWeave, I believe, is going to be our best example here, okay? So if you were to buy the IPO price, like when it opened, yeah, sure enough, you're doing really well, okay, within CoreWeave. CoreWeave is an exception. Look at Fig. Figma, absolutely disastrous, okay? Give me a couple more IPOs, guys. You're not Circle. Yeah, Circle, we're going to go through that. I need all of you to participate, just in case I forget some. Circle, are we below that? We're right, literally. So June of 2025, a year ago today, today's the 5th, right? Yes, it is. A year ago today, we are at the exact same price from what we were at in Circle, okay? What's a couple of more? Cerebras, same thing. You're way under that. Now, I think that what I do believe is CRBS, right? Why? Yeah, CBRS. Why you gotta fool me? CB. Thanks, Adair. I appreciate you. Same thing. Cerebras, below the IPO price. So, I mean, I think that this is, and Neil and what Sean and everybody around here truly believes, this is probably a generational IPO. In my opinion, it is. Can it act differently? Absolutely. We were talking about oversubscription, how there's going to be more orders than shares. The demand through this absolutely seems through the wazoo. Okay? NMAX, Newsmax, Figma, we did that. Bull and Coin, we gone through some of those, right? So I don't know if there's a specific plan, but what we say here, it doesn't matter what it is you don't go YOLO all at once. Break it in. If you really want to get your fee 30, start slow. And if it really starts to work out, you can always add to a winning position. That's where I stand.
Okay, so with respect to the rules for investing in IPOs, Kill Gore Trout 7464 recommended a book called The Life Cycle Trade. So I'm not going to, obviously, I don't have time to read that book right now, But what I threw into Gemini was the life cycle trade. Give me the rules that this book articulates as the rules for investing in IPOs. So here's what it said, and you guys are going to have to do your own homework on this, lest it could be hallucinating. One of the rules is never buy a day one pop. Avoid buying the massive opening day surge. Over 90% of IPOs eventually trade below their first day highs. Wait for a minimum of 7-week base or minimum 7-week base. Never buy an initial breakout unless the stock has consolidated in a proper IPO base for at least 7 weeks, within 12 to 16 weeks being optimal. Confirm the breakout with heavy volume. Only execute a buy when a stock breaks out past its pivot point on volume that is 40 to 50% above its recent daily average. Never average down on a losing position. Do not add shares to a falling IPO falling phase 2 IPO, as consolidation periods can drag on destructively for 6 to 18 months. Keep phase 2 positions slightly tightly capped, sizes slightly capped, Limit individual breakout trades to a maximum of 1 to 2% of your overall portfolio to protect your financial and mental capital. Enforce a strict 8 to 10% stop loss. Honor your predetermined downside exit point immediately on every trade without exception or hesitation. Hold winners above the 40-week moving average. Ride your biggest winners into the massive institutional advance phase by staying long as a stock holds above its 40-week trend line. Sell entirely when the 40-week trend line snaps. Exit the position entirely if the stock closes 5% or more below the 40-week moving average on heavy institutional volume. Only 2 more here. Prioritize the chart's timeline over corporate fundamentals. Remember that even excellent companies make terrible investments if you buy them during the wrong life cycle phase. And last but not least, take a mandatory rest break after a loss. Step away from the markets for 24 to 48 hours after hitting a stop loss to fully preserve your mental capital and avoid revenge trading. I think some of this is not specifically applicable to the IPO. I have to stop out here as we gap down. We held the dollar. Looks like we're ripping right back up. That's a bad stop out for me there, as this one is moving right back up. I'm talking about Sugar Cup here, SUGP. Did hold the dollar. Now it's going to limit up, you little punk. Back into 118, 115 it goes here. We're going to have to keep a close eye out on this one. By the way, if you're wondering where I was reading that from, that's from a suggestion from Kill Gore Trout 7464. He recommended Katina Man a book called The Life Cycle Trade for anybody who that interests. So just want to read that out. And hope some people get. Okay. This is for you, Andrew.
Yes,
you two on me. An LA opening new bar by SoFi soon. The dime of 3 of us would wreck rooms that the dog, brother, train at Fortune Gym on me. Oh, I like this. This guy is all.
This guy, man. Shout out to
I like this guy, man. Shout out to Andrew, man. How do you say that? Fischella? Fischella? Is that one of your boys there, Katina? Fischella? Yeah, obviously, yes. So how do you pronounce it? That's why I'm looking over for. Anytime you think there's Italian, I just look over to the Katina Man.
Can you speak Italian, Katina Man?
No, he can't. He says he can't. Fischella?
What's up, my brother?
Yes, sorry, Sia. We got caught up there with some super chats. We are going to start the news. It is 1:11. So why don't we send it up to Sia and get things going?
Yeah, let's start with our first Lulu. Lululemon has beat Q1 estimates on both revenue, $2.47 billion versus $2.43 billion, and EPS at $1.69 and versus $1.68, but it has lowered its first year and second quarter guidance. Full year revenue guidance has been cut to $11 billion, between $11 to $11.15 billion, from a range of $11.35 billion and $11.50 billion, while EPS guidance has also been reduced to $10.95, between $10.95 and $11.15, from $12.10 to $12.30. Management has also blamed weaker traffic, negative media attention that, as you know, it surrounded Founder Chip Wilson's criticism of the company, and the big concern lies in the North American sector. Comparable sales have fallen 5%, marking the 5th consecutive quarter of declines, while international sales have risen 22%. That's all for LULU. But before I send it to the guys, Adara, give us your take on LULU.
More here about this sequential and year-over-year decline here, specifically with net revenue and comp sales. Now, if you saw us yesterday during my new segment in the wall in the afternoon that we call To the Chart Window, To the Wall, I looked at the infographic for this for Q4 2025, and as you could see, then we had some declines. Canada, though, did grow slightly year-over-year for revenue. That is no longer the case. So US, Canada, Americas, all down here year-over-year for net revenue, and ASIA was mentioning, as we discussed this morning as well, lots of strength in other areas of the world. So it's interesting, too. This is a Canadian-founded company, obviously founded in North America, but they're really catching on in other areas right now. So now what concerns me is what happens if we start to see a slowdown in the rest of world comp sales and net revenue growth. That, to me, would be the next frontier in terms of as far as areas of concern would go. That's my opinion.
All right, let's get right down to work. Okay, so they did okay on the current quarter. It was just marginally beat, but there is a lot of things to concern ourselves with. 410 basis point reductions in their gross margins, down to 54.2%. Tariffs and markdowns. So the tariffs, obviously, that they don't control, but the markdowns they do. And you don't mark down a product if it's selling. So right away, you feel there's headwinds for sales. And this is a company who specifically goes out of their way not to mark down their products. That's point number one. Point number two, the girls already mentioned, America sales not doing as good as some international, China being the standout. They continue to grow there. Thirdly, away from body. This is their new yoga segment that they were trying to get everybody on. It was a rare product misstep, according to the management. They acknowledged that the new look yoga marketing campaign, which introduced looser, away from the body silhouettes, didn't do well. It completely failed to generate expected consumer traction. Those were the words used on the call. And a 37% reduction in operating income, and they're blaming that on employee overhead expenses, aggressive brand activations, and the other one is the proxy fight that they didn't expect, obviously, from Elliott Management. If you've been in a proxy fight or you know anything about proxy fights, you got to hire a proxy advisory firm who takes a pretty hefty retainer in addition to lawyers. You've got to be basically spending up a storm, things that you hadn't anticipated in previous quarters. Last but not least, full year revenue guidance reduction. So they're guiding now for full year 2026, 11 to 11.15 billion. If that was to actually manifest, it would be a 1% year-over-year sales reduction, not something that you really want to be caught involved in. Typically, you're growing year-over-year sales, not reducing them, Joey. So a bit of a tough look. But as you and I have been talking about, man, anecdotally, I go to the store, it's rammed, whether I go on a Wednesday or whether I go on a Saturday. But it may have something to do with that fact that it's a Canadian brand and there's a push to buy Canada with the issues and tariffs with the United States. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on this side of the border. And some people are even taking that to their advantage. Have you heard of this maple washing?
No, what is that?
It's like, so basically you try to say that a product is Canadian, produced in Canada,
okay,
or has Canadian origins and it doesn't, or it like has some very loosely held Canadian origins, only to get that, buy Canadian only buyer to buy your product.
Maple maxing. No, Sharif, I was literally going to say that, right? Like here, Canadian made, you're going to see some, the stores being busy. But then when you go south of the border, there's so many brands that are going to be taking that market share from Lululemon, especially when you're caught in the middle. It's like, hey, things are a little bit too expensive, but you're not completely a luxury brand. One thing that I always talk about when it comes to retail space is inventories. Well, guess what? Inventory totaled $1.7 billion here this year. That's up 2% from a dollar perspective, okay? So what happened? Sharif brought up the fact that, hey, he's not seeing any discounts, but you're complaining about margin compression. But where are the discounts coming from? Probably in places that aren't as hot. the United States, all right? So when you have a space that's so crowded and you have these new brands and it's an ever so revolving door within the retail space, one day you're hot, one day you're not. It's like you have the Aloes of the world, the On, who are actually competing with Lululemon now. It makes it significantly more difficult. And you're not getting any serious discounts here, so that's going to have to be happening in the United States. Sharif also mentioned the fact that sales are up 23% and 30% respectively in China. So you're gaining a little bit of ground there, but you need to tap into the American consumer, and you want that to be your best product, because what you're selling here in Canada isn't going to subsidize from what you're going to miss out in the United States. So increase in inventory, not good for a churn rate, especially when the states aren't participating, and then your operating margins falling off an absolute cliff from 18.5% down to 11.5%. It's not good for the retail space. That's why I don't like retail names for the long term.
Right. Let's go back to Sia and talk a little NVIDIA.
I think we've been beaten this to death, but let's also just dive back into NVIDIA and China. Again, Senator Elizabeth Warren, like I said, has invited Jensen Huang to testify before the Senate Banking Committee on the 11th of June with a focus on NVIDIA's China business and U.S. export controls. Lawmakers are also increasingly concerned about this. They're saying that the advanced AI chips could strengthen China's military and surveillance capabilities, placing NVIDIA directly in the midst of a national security debate. NVIDIA, however, is arguing from their side that excessive restrictions could also hurt U.S. competitiveness and drive customers towards foreign alternatives. With that, NVIDIA is down on the day, 5.2%. Adara, NVIDIA.
So we have beaten the whole China thing to death.
Yeah.
And everyone knows I feel that way. But guys, it's my favorite Senate committee. I'm so sad that I'm going to be getting my tooth fixed while this meeting is happening, because there are some heavy hitters here in the Senate Banking Committee. You've got, of course, Elizabeth Warren is going to be of interest. Now, Tim Scott, this is an individual, just to contextualize this for people who aren't aware, he was very much part of the investigate JPOW situation here when it came to the Fed building. But there's also some other people here on note. John Kennedy. He's on this committee. He tends to ask some pretty interesting questions. You've got also a lot of pro-crypto individuals. Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming. You also got Bernie Moreno, another pro-crypto guy. So lots of interesting individuals here on this committee. I think this hearing will absolutely be of note, and I might even be watching it at home from Winnipeg while I'm getting my teeth done, because this is going to be like must-watch TV if you are interested in Senate-type stuff. I think it could be an interesting meeting, and I'm very curious to see what Huang says, should he actually testify, when he is behind the mic.
All right, so here's what we're talking about for this meeting. Warren's invitation, specifically triggered here by the unsealing of a new Department of Justice memo or investigation, which alleges that multi-million dollar illicit pipeline of H100s and H200s are making their way into China via a new route this time. It's not just Singapore or Mongolia. We're talking about Malaysia and Thailand as well, implicated here. So she's expected to press him on that pretty directly. Also, she's pressing him on the fact that he stated his China revenue is near zero. She's going to posit that his China revenue is actually huge and that he controls about 55% share of China's AI accelerator market to challenge his previous statement. I don't know what evidence she's going to tender to support her position. Let's wait and see. Also, he just came back from a very important trip with President Trump, where he was meeting behind closed doors with Chinese officials. She's very much expected to press him on that, and she's expected to make this a political issue as well. Of course, how could it not be? Let's also talk about the fact that she wants to use this little banking committee thing to really press what their people are calling a new federal AI excise tax on data centers to fund healthcare, to fund childcare and vocational training. Obviously, it's going to directly threaten some of the margins, whether or not NVIDIA is going to be implicated in this directly, or whether it's going to be their customers, aka the hyperscalers, who actually own the data centers. Those are the 4 points that are being speculated on right now that she's going to bring up at the hearing. Let's wait and see exactly what happens, Joey.
Right, yeah. Speaking of China, these guys are getting an upgrade and a target announced by China Renaissance, whatever analyst action this may be, with $319 price target. All right, well, as soon as we get rolling, we're going to send things off to Adara, and then we'll hop on to the next story with Sia.
Sorry for the interruption there, guys. WBD sharply to the downsides. Reports suggesting that U.S. states are preparing a lawsuit to block Paramount's acquisition of Warner Brothers. I'd read this morning that Rob Bonta, AG of California, was apparently considering whether or not to act. It looks like, I'm not seeing which states yet, but some U.S. states are prepping this lawsuit to block the PSKY acquisition of WBD. And back to you.
All right, what do we got?
Yep. Let's take a look at the next story. NASA SpaceX S&P 500 reinforcing profit barrier. Important because S&P Global has decided to not change its S&P 500 inclusion requirements. And this effectively will prevent newly public companies like, you guessed it, SpaceX from gaining rapid entry into the benchmark index. And despite an expected $1.75 trillion evaluation, guess what? SpaceX remains ineligible because it does not meet profitability requirements. It's all thanks to because it posted a $4.94 billion net loss in the year 2025. And this decision reinforces that scale alone is not enough for index inclusion. You need sustainable earnings and you need sufficient public float. What do you have to say about this?
Obviously, SpaceX as a company has been profitable since, I think, about 10 years. It's only, you know, upon absorbing X and XAI that the profitability metrics were brought into question. I don't really have anything to say on this. Good for the S&P for sticking to their guns and enforcing the rules, whether or not it's Elon Musk or anybody else. I spoke about all the details about the SpaceX IPO yesterday, the things that you need to know, and you know some of the things that a lot of people don't know. I'm not going to read it again today because it'd just be redundant. You can go listen to it from the news segment yesterday. Did you have anything to say about this?
No, I'm in the exact same boat. Just because you're a special player and you're going to be one of the hottest IPOs, that doesn't mean the rules have to be bent for you. I mean, Sia made a fantastic point. You're operating at a net loss of $4.9 billion in 2025. What do you get? You don't meet the profit requirements, then you're going to have to be patient and wait for it to be included.
See ya.
Yeah, next story, AI is designing OpenAI's next model. SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son has said that OpenAI's next model is being designed by AI, which is a sign of superintelligence. He said that his previous forecast of AI arriving in 10 years was conservative, and he expects that it will be here a little bit sooner. Meanwhile, the developer of Claude, Anthropic, has warned that the pace of AI development should be slowed down. I was wondering when I would be seeing one of these headlines, honestly.
Well, Anthropic's kind of taken that, you know, cautious approach. That's kind of their moat. That's what differentiates them. You know, we're the only people you can trust. You know, they don't say that overtly, obviously. But look, I like this. Obviously, we've been seeing a lot more of this model kind of, what do you call it, a self-improvement from within the models. I think this is part and parcel of the new world of AI as we see, you know, these mythos-style LLMs discover legacy software glitches or legacy security issues in some of the old software, Joey. So, yeah, good development here. I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing. It's just about whether or not, you know, you got the right guardrails.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to develop however it is, right? Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. As for Sam Altman and company, we know how his image has slowly been tarnished. Whatever this next model does, I think you better hope that it's really good. He needs to start to get other things involved as well, too, because he's not meeting some of his revenue requirements, and he's missed out on actual monthly active users from an increase in a percentage standpoint. So Sam Altman, I wouldn't say he's in trouble. We talk about the constant leapfrog within some of these tools. He was at the top. He's taken a couple of steps back, but just because he has that first-to-market head start compared to some other individuals, even though we've seen Google really surpass them from a monetization standpoint, I think if he gets that in order, which is unfortunate because it can take away from the use of the tool itself, but his job is to gain monthly active users and to gain revenue, which he's kind of struggling to do right now, even though it's one of the highest used apps from an LLM and AI tool.
It's so bad, man. It's so bad. Like, I'll throw in instructions. I'll have to throw in the instructions 20 times.
Really?
So, yeah, man. And I'll even say, update your memory to reflect these instructions. It'll give me that whole I updated my memory spiel.
Yeah.
And then it'll just generate the same garbage right after. So for example, if I want a certain part of the summary to be a certain length, I'll say reduce this part of the summary by 25% and do so going forward, and please update your memory. It'll give me that whole thing. Like updated, here's what I'm gonna do next. And then 3-4 summaries later, it's forgotten.
It's forgotten.
And it keeps doing the same crap. So I ask it. I'm like, why did you do that? Even though my instructions are like, oh, because it conflicted with your previous instructions.
Oh, so it's
but I'm
making
like, okay, but I
excuses
very specifically gave you new instructions. Why are you not able to work off those, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's falling behind in terms of quality, right? And
it is.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
You could have accepted this kind of, recurring problem in 22, in 23, even 24. But are we getting to the point now where this problem needs to be weeded out by chat? Because this doesn't happen with Gemini. It doesn't happen with Claude, right? Like, these are not problems that I have recurring. I don't know what it is with chat, man. It's just, it's not there.
Yeah,
it's not there.
I'm gonna say, like, so I agree. I agree with you, Shri. But I don't think you. I think you and I are in the same boat. We're not gonna completely count him out just yet, because I still believe we're in the infancy of this stuff.
That's fair.
The quicker he gets it right, the better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if things aren't well, think about how Gemini first started off. It was pretty much a dog's breakfast.
But they made it that way on purpose, Joey. They were preventing me from summarizing anything that had President Trump's name.
In Gemini?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I stopped using it, because so many of the news articles included President Trump's name, but it refused to mention anything about him. That was purposefully done.
There was an issue within that, but like the bottom line is that there's an issue within the actual tool in itself, which they cleaned up. So I'm going to say we'll give Altman a little bit more time. You don't want to fall too behind in this race, because the further you get behind, the harder it is to play catch up.
And some people may leave and never come back.
Exactly, right? So he can fall into that realm, but I don't want to count him out just yet, but it's not looking good from a tool perspective, because I mentioned to us yesterday, 900 million monthly active users, or I think it was users based across the Gemini ecosystem.
The ecosystem.
Right, and the Google ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right? That's really tough. So we're talking about a 1A and 1B player here within monthly active users.
Yeah, honestly, like the same thing. Don't know what's going on with Gemini. Even today, a simple prompt just was, I don't use AI that much, but I was just putting in a prompt to generate something for me, an image. Joey and I talked about it, and it could not do that. It was giving me an HTML code today for some reason.
What? You were trying to use Nano Banana?
No,
I did. I tried it. It's just glitching. It's not working. I don't know what's going on.
Usually, it treats you pretty good.
Right? As of late, it hasn't, but I got it.
As of late, it hasn't?
Yeah, it hasn't been performing how I want it to. But what I did is I got it to generate something that's repeatable, so I don't have to rely on it all the time.
That's smart. Yeah. That's the problem. Getting that same repeat outcome.
That's the thing, right? It doesn't.
Because it's a mathematical prediction. That's why it doesn't give it.
So if I give it a specific prompt, like do the exact same thing that you did before, it struggles with it. I think with Nano, it's more or less image generation in those cool little videos that, remember, you were messing around with, right?
Yeah.
From a coding standpoint, I never really liked Gemini.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I used Gemini to make this risk calculator here, by the way, guys.
Nice.
Like, this is a Gemini one right here. But, I actually threw in this app, Assassino, if we can show the screen. I threw in this app here, and I said to chat, make a better app than this. And it made one, but it wasn't necessarily better. So I was like, okay, and I left it. All right, let's talk a little, I think we're talking a little RAM. See ya.
Yeah, for sure. Let's dive right into it. Let's talk about IBIT. Bitcoin's losing its narrative. Bitcoin is under pressure. We did cover that a little bit today in the morning. Capital is rotating, main reason, towards AI semiconductors and other higher momentum trades. Spot Bitcoin ETFs have now seen 13 consecutive days of net outflows. Assets are falling from $107.8 billion to $82.8 billion, which removes a major source of demand. Sentiment has also weakened. Further strategy, that's MSTR, has disclosed the sale of 32 BTC in its first Bitcoin sale since the year 2022. This amount wasn't material, but it also challenged the market's never sell kind of narrative. This move has also helped trigger roughly $594 million in crypto long liquidations, which has accelerated a certain downside momentum. And regulatory catalysts have also faded, all because of the expectations for near-term crypto legislation that has, the progress of which has cooled currently. IBIT on the downside, a little bit towards 5%.
13 consecutive days of net ETF outflows, spot ETF outflows, 13. Now, Michael Saylor took to X yesterday trying to explain away the reduction in Bitcoin, saying, look, there's $400 billion being invested into AI within the next 6 months. His opinion is that that money is funneling out of Bitcoin to finance that, whether it's money being flown into equities or money being taken out to actually fund it directly. That's his opinion, right? So you can believe him if you want. But the fact of the matter is, the bleed is hyper concentrated. What am I talking about? Of the $4.4 billion that's come out of the spot ETFs as of late, 3.3 billion of that 4.4 is coming out from one source and one source only. I'll give you guys one guess. IBIT. So hyper concentrated into that specific name. Secondly, we spoke about this in the morning. When you look at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME, and you look at the open interest, Bitcoin futures plummeted to 97,935 BTC. That's the open interest. That is the lowest institutional volume recorded in 2.5 years. And what some people say it confirms is that the macro hedge funds are actively dismantling their basic kind of trade arbitrage position. So something to think about there. And then of the $1.8 billion in forced liquidations that took place in one single day, $1.35 billion came from what they're saying are long overextended positions. So again, margin, leverage, featuring again into Bitcoin's price volatility, Joey, it works well on the way up, but it works equally as well, maybe not so well if you're along, right?
Absolutely
on the way down.
Listen, I agree with what Michael Saylor has to say. I mean, like you're sitting on the sidelines and you're watching some of these other stocks. Never mind what it has to fund, but from the average investor, including myself, who's just like, okay, we're seeing the memory names just go on these big time runs. You're seeing this AI build out, and you start following that money. None of it's going to go into Bitcoin. Even the individuals and the companies who are mining this stuff are like, this isn't working right now. So we're going to pull the chute on it, and then we're going to find something else that has been working, and that's this AI trade. The crypto space is not hot right now. Regardless if it's CapEx or whoever's spending whatever it is, it's just not hot, and it's the same thing. You see a rotation from what is hot and out of what's not, and I think that's where we stand in this Bitcoin scenario, guys. Like for me, it's just, why am I going to hold on to this dead money when you have the NASDAQ putting in all-time highs day after day, the S&P putting in all-time highs day after day, and you're 40% off of the highs in crypto, in Bitcoin? Like, what am I going to do? Why am I sitting in this dead money when I can go potentially wait for a pullback, whether it be 5 or 10% in the NASDAQ names, and buy some of that with a better opportunity for some appreciation than what we're seeing? I don't hate Bitcoin. I told you guys, full disclosure, I have drastically reduced my position. Does that mean that I'm not going to get back into what I had from before? Absolutely not. Nothing is concrete.
Let me ask a question.
I'm not going to sit in this dead asset right now when there's other things moving, and I can sit on cash, and you have hot IPOs coming out.
So my question to you is, you're not excluding adding Bitcoin to the portfolio going forward?
No, it's still up there in my largest size.
So
no.
Let me set up the question.
Yeah.
So if Bitcoin is pulling into these areas we haven't been in a minute, right? Why are you not, and I'm not putting any pressure on you, but I'm not doing it either, just so that, I'm not sounding hypocritical.
Yeah.
Why are you not taking advantage of the down move to add into your position? Because that's what Saylor was saying. Saylor's like, yo, sure, their money was rotating out. I admit the money's rotating out, but now could be a great time to buy. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, and I agree. It is. But what I believe is that there's going to be more downside.
Okay.
So if there's more downside, I have the dry powder. I sold at higher prices. I could buy back some today, and I'd be getting it at a better price than what I sold last week or earlier in the week before.
So you're going to wait for the chart to flip then?
Where I'm going to wait for. I need to see something that says, "Hey, we're ready to turn around." I'm okay with buying a little high and then selling higher. That's the objective on this one. Listen,
I got you.
We're kicking Bitcoin when it's down. Yeah. Next year, we can be having a total conversation, which we typically do with some of these names during the tariff tantrum. Sky is falling, sky is falling. Months later, what happened?
What happened?
Sky is falling in the crypto space. Sky is falling a year and a half from now. What happened?
Yeah, where did NVIDIA go on the deep sea craze?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. What are we talking about now? I wouldn't be surprised if that scenario happened. But again, reducing on the way down, I mentioned that we can buy it back at a cheaper price than what it was yesterday. I'm not going to jump the gun too quick. We need to see a sentiment shift within the whole space in order for me to get involved once again. I still have exposure. Let's make that clear,
I want to make my position very clear. Like, I'm going to be adding on the way down into technical levels. And I put the orders out there so that they can trigger whether I'm asleep, whether I'm at work. And the beautiful part about that is the emotional part, the subjective part is removed entirely. Throw the orders out at what you believe to be key technical levels, allow them to trigger and set and forget, so to speak. I do that for all my long-term, all my swings. This is something that, you know, I had trouble with because emotional side of it, when you come in the moment, when it's red 6-7%, you start, should I really be buying this? You know what I mean? Remove that component.
And I think the question truly needs to be asked, Sharif, and I thought the narrative was going to change when you had IBIT come onto the market, when you had the actual underlying asset being optionable. That's a huge factor. Why? Because you can hedge against downside. Now, what I've heard on multiple occasions is that, even including myself, you would think that some of the volatility would step out of the asset just due to the fact of the hedging aspect of things. That's not the case. You're down 50% off of the all-time highs. A lot of Wall Street is like, why would I put my money into this BS if there's a potential of a 50 to 75% pullback?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I mean, if that's what they're thinking, if that's what their bias is, they're going to wait for that 37, 40,000 to come in before they punch.
Exactly.
And that's why that's why support levels end up being support levels. It's not some willy-nilly reason. There's buyers down there because they're earmarking that area.
Exactly. And like, think about it. There's nothing crazy. There's actual tailwinds for the space right now for it to climb higher. The Clarity Act, Genius Act, and the fact that it's on the public markets now and it's sliding. Do you see if if Google and Apple happen to fall down 50%, there's probably something much bigger from an economic standpoint happening. The fact that there's positive tailwinds under it and you're selling, it's like, why would you actually kind of get involved with that?
That's actually a good point.
You know what I mean there? So
it's like, oh, you should be going up, but you're going down.
But you're going down. And if that were to happen in some of the hyperscalers or these mega cap names, you're down 50%. There's actually something much bigger going on, in my opinion,
you don't
from a macroeconomic
on a hyperscaler.
Right?
Shit's not hitting the fan. Shout out to Dave. $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Dave. Condolences to everyone's long-term account.
That's crazy.
It, quote, feels, Ram, like the Q's found its bottom for the day. So maybe a little relief the next 2.5 hours. I wouldn't be upset with that. Man. Yeah, there's a little photo shoot over here, Assassino. Let's show what's going on over here. There's Ram's there, and I want to expose Ram. There she is. That's her right there. And that's Katina Man right over there. There's a little photo shoot going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a part of the photo shoot too.
What's going on, girl? That's a little close, huh? Yeah. You're too close, man.
Where you going? Oh.
Whoa, Ram, bro.
All right, hold on.
All right, let's send it back to see it,
we got Nicole here. We're gonna beat this one a little bit.
Nicole Harris, or as you call her,
Prada. All right. If Bitcoin is following its code, it's in a bear cycle until 2027. My question does this change Mara and Riot? They entered the data center
exactly
space.
it. And that's why they've been moving up, Nicole. And that's why they've been, until recently, they were bucking the Bitcoin trend. We would see Riot, CleanSpark, Cut, Mara. Who else, man? There's more.
Hive Digital.
Hive all
Digital
ripping on days where Bitcoin was red simply because that they were throwing their hat into a ring that they may know. Data centers. Now, they obviously were not using the same type of chips, nor did they need the same type of equipment, but, you know, there is some synergies there that are overlapping.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's a great question. I think, you know, if they do actually get some customers, perhaps they don't have the latest and the greatest or as much as the hyperscalers have, but they could be able to get, you know, some mid-cap, small-cap clients like a Temu CoreWeave, for example, you know? Who knows? Shout out to Mopar. Thank you, Nicole, by the way, for the super chat. Mopar for life, $1.99. Yeah. Just need Trump to say buy the dip and we're off. He's done it before.
Dude, we're down 5% off.
He may do it again. What? I know.
You know
no, I think he's talking about Bitcoin. Maybe, because we're talking about Bitcoin. I have no idea. But yeah, shout out to Nicole. All right, and shout out to Mopar. And shout out to Sia.
Thank you, thank you. Let's move on to our next story, DRAM's AI memory demand. So SK Hynix has told investors that it has received a tremendously positive feedback regarding its planned U.S. listing, which could raise up to $14 billion and broaden the access to U.S. institutional investors. The company has also been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the AI infrastructure boom. Shares have roughly been booming 250% this year, and market cap has surpassed $1 trillion recently. Management is continuing to see a favorable pricing environment for high bandwidth memory chips, which is the HBM, more commonly known as that, which are critical components in the AI accelerators supplied to customers such as NVIDIA. But SK Hynix also expects a strong demand from NVIDIA's upcoming Vera Rubin platform. I remember talking about this on the show a month or so ago to tighten the broader memory supply going into the year 2027.
This is it, Assassino. This is SK Hynix, okay? It's 000660, because we know the Asian markets use numbers. So this is the chart. I mean, this thing is rip city. Now, it's had a tough week, obviously, with all of tech getting hit as well, but this still has higher lows in the prior bar. So SK Hynix, I was talking to the Katina man about this morning. They are actually $1.4 trillion market cap, right there. Yeah, it's a big one, Katina man. 1.482.420.888. You guys get it. The point is, it's a hell of a company. Samsung included. Some of these South Korean companies are giants that we don't necessarily have listed in North American markets, but they are what they are. Management continues to see a favorable pricing environment for HBM, critical components, of course, as Sia mentioned. We also expect strong demand from NVIDIA's upcoming chipset that is going to be basically into 2027. So they're doing about a 1 to 2 year window. But I think this is speaking more to the change, Joey, in the sort of the RAM business, the memory business here, where before it would be boom and bust, right? You'd have a lot of inventory and not that much demand, and then it would be the other way around, and you would have kind of these peaks and troughs in demand. I think that's balancing out at least for the next, say, 3 years.
I would agree. Just because of the super cycle that we're in, from a CapEx standpoint, and just the complete need for compute at the end of the day.
There you go.
So I mean, there's not enough of this stuff, and you're going to see that trickle-down effect, and it's falling into the SK Hynix, the Microns, and the SanDisks of the world, and that's why you're seeing these insane moves. What I also wanted to bring to us here is that we talk about DRAM, the ETF. Well, there's another one that's coming out, which isn't as heavily weighted as what DRAM is. It's high bandwidth memory, HBMX there, Sharif.
I heard.
A potential one there with... So DRAM has 15 stocks, and Micron being 29% of that weight. This HBMX holds 23 stocks, with DRAM at less than half that, 9.14%. So, I mean, there it is, some more ETFs being launched. Is the space going to get too flooded? I don't think so, but expect things to cool down a little bit and then continue on this run, because what Sharif mentioned, 3-year outlook, I think that we have plenty of more time to go, and just this, we're such in the earlier stages of this build out, and if they continuously need more and more compute, and Zuck happens to get his things together, and Google's Gemini just continues to explode, and people are making videos using all their tokens, you need more token, more compute. It's just it's a really strong revolving door and cycle that I think can go endlessly at some point, man. Just more and more use of these AI tools, I think people are implementing in their day-to-day.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. See ya.
Let's talk IoT's very strong quarter. Samsara has delivered a strong fiscal Q1, beating both on revenue and on earnings, while also raising its full-year guidance. Its revenue has increased and jumped 31% to $478.8 million versus $455.2 million, which was expected, while adjusted EPS has come in at 17 cents versus 13 cents expected. Annual recurring revenue has increased 30% to $1.99 billion, which is slightly ahead of expectations, also reinforcing a continued enterprise demand. Management has also raised its full year guidance to $2.005 billion to $2.013 billion in revenue and 70 cents to 72 cents in EPS. With that, IoT on the upside, but currently trading flat. Let's quickly go to Adara, see what she has to say.
I'm seeing some comments here from President Trump. Now, I looked into this. I'm not sure quite where he is speaking. He also didn't post this on Truth Social, but he said that he will be leaving the decision to cut rates up to Kevin Warsh. He says he would like to see lower interest rates, and, quote, I will leave the rate cut to Warsh during the October meeting. So he's basically saying, hey, Kevin Warsh, you can make your own decisions, but also make that decision in October. So if I get any other comments or details, I'll let you know. But a pretty pointed message here from President Trump. He also was just now saying, quote, wouldn't mind if Warsh lowered the interest rate. Back to you.
We know Kevin is the FOMC there, Chair Donald. Thank you very much, President Trump, for letting us know that he's going to be the decision maker. Oh, it's actually the committee, of course. But all right, IoT, let's get down to work. $30 million legal windfall. So everybody and their mother was talking about, you know, the full year GAAP EPS profitability. Well, $30 million of that is a one-line item that's not going to reoccur that they made from winning a lawsuit. Also, 200 basis point contraction in margins as a result of elevated data hosting costs and hardware supply inputs that are required, of course, for its AI operational tools. Something to think about there. Also, the AI data center boom. Management introduced a surprising new structural growth thesis, reads this article, explicitly tying their long-term growth pipeline to the build-out of physical AI data centers. I guess that's a way for them to justify all their money they're spending to their shareholders and why that's important for their company. If they tie that in to their future growth, then, you know, likely to be, better received, so to speak, by the shareholders as well as the board. IoT, Joey. By the way, I think Samsara, in Arabic, it means like middleman or brokerage or something like that.
Because that's what they are, pretty much.
Yeah, because
right?
that's exactly.
You know what I mean.
Because I knew that's an Arabic word, right? I just don't know who's behind this company.
Yeah. I don't really, like, again, they're the middleman. Like, they're building some digital infrastructure or something along that all of this is. But I find that the CEO stated something very interesting.
What did he say?
So the AI data center build-out and grid modernization will be roughly require $106 trillion in investment by 2024. That's $106 trillion. I can't even, that's a lot to kind of just really digest. But nonetheless, nearly $2 billion in annual recurring revenue, up 30% year over year. $101 million in new net annual recurring revenue, up 30% year over year. So, I mean, what I'm getting at here essentially is you're seeing some strong growth within the company. Is it performing that well? Some analysts putting price targets of $40. We're trading around $35 right now. We don't really talk about Samsara too much and too often, nor do I know from top to bottom really about the company. But when you see growth like that and you're talking about the trickle-down effect, $106 trillion by 2040, it's quite a bit of cash being spent on this whole thing.
This stuff over here?
Yeah.
You ever see those money guns?
Yeah, I wish. Have you ever used one of those?
I've never used one.
Would you use one?
Would I use it with fake money, right?
But say you won the Powerball. Would you put like 1,000
around? I'm not that kind of guy that would go into the club and start going like that. That would definitely not be me. No matter how much money I had.
If you won the Powerball, you wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs.
But bro, they put your name all over that bad boy, and then your face and stuff. Did you see the guy who wore a mask? So when he won the big lottery, he wore a mask because he didn't want his family asking him for loans.
Yeah, I would probably do the exact same thing.
Oh man.
The first thing I do is I win the Powerball is I get my grandma to sign the ticket.
Oh yeah.
I don't own anything.
Why?
So I don't own anything.
Are there any creditors after Joseph?
No creditors after me, man. You just got to be forward-looking. Shout out to your boy. Shout out
this
to your
guy's
boy.
2 steps ahead. We're all playing behind.
Shout out to your boy. Who's that soccer player who put all his assets in his mom's name?
Ashraf Hakimi.
Yeah. Got to learn from the best.
Yeah, he got away with that one, bro.
Did he though? He was forward.
In North America, it would be okay. So in North America, there's common law and there's equity. Common law can say one thing, but the judge can look through that and say, no, that's inequitable, right?
Yeah.
And so he can kind of reverse the transaction.
Yeah.
It's called tracing.
Man.
Yeah, so it's interesting stuff.
There's no real doing. You can't hide.
You can. You got to have a really good lawyer, I think, right? Yeah. But anyway, let's throw it back to Sia and talk some PL.
A beat both on top and bottom lines, but shares are still trading lower. Stick around to the end to find out why. Planet Labs has reported a beat on both lines, posting a 0.03 per share loss versus expectations for a 0.04 per share loss. Revenues come in at $94.2 million versus estimate of $89.9 million. RPOs have increased 81% year over year. It's a good thing to $816 million. Backlog also has shot up 72% to over $906 million. Management has also raised first year 2027 revenue guidance to the range of $425 million to $441 million, which is well above the analysts were expecting. And the company is benefiting from 3 things: a growing demand for satellite imagery, defense intelligence, and also the AI-driven geospatial analytics. But why are the shares trading lower? Well, the report is strong, but investors are appearing to take these profits following the rally. Currently, PL down 25%.
Yeah, that's a bad one, Sia. 25%, that's a big one. Okay, let's talk about the fact that the media is touting this only 3 penny gap loss. Non-gap non-gap loss of 3 pennies. Let's look at their gap loss, though. Basically $140 million is what they lost, okay? So that's obviously that's the difference between gap and non-gap, so that's one thing to look at there. And then they have apparently $730.8 million in free cash. They didn't mention, though, that about $108 million of that came from the mandatory public warrant redemption in the quarter, and that's going to be a one-line off item. And then they were pounding the table on their 81% spike in RPOs up to $816 million in remaining performance obligations. What they didn't mention, though, is of that 816, they only anticipate of recognizing 35% of that $816 million backlog over the next year. So things could change a lot. There could be less remaining performance obligations because there's less demand 12 months from now. Perhaps there's some sort of technological change. Perhaps they don't do very well and people go to other companies. So those are the 3 points that I want to make, and I think maybe that's probably why we're selling off that aggressively.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there, Sharif. I mean, 35% to the downside this week alone. Just to add to Sharif's point, backlog grew 72% to over 900 million, but you forgot to read the fine print within that. Increased sales by 42% and net dollar retention around 114%.
Net dollars.
Still, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still generating positive cash flow from operations. What's the company that Amazon's in bed with that Apple owns 20% of?
Globalstar, GSAT.
Right?
Yeah.
So do you think a lot of this could fall into the realm that GSAT is missing deliveries into orbit, I guess we can say it? Like they really didn't hit the amount of satellites that they were supposed to get out there. compared to the quota and the outlook, so they were like 20 to 30% of what they were behind in a backlog from sending these things to orbit, right? In Planet Labs. So it's like, hey, maybe they're starting to fall a little bit behind from actual getting their material out there. I don't know necessarily what's happening in that scenario, within that specific scenario, but maybe that could be something along those lines.
All right, we got to go up to the big desk because President Trump, he's speaking again.
He's talking a lot about oil and AI, of course, two things that we can trade here, so we're definitely going to talk about it. Let's talk here about USO. A little bit of a move here. President Trump just said, quote, there's more oil coming to the world than people know. So unclear exactly what the implications of that comment are going to be. He also did say that people expected the oil barrels to cost more, so he's actually saying it's less expensive than people thought it would be. Also say, further here, again, a lot of oil is coming into our country. That's also being said here. Saying furthermore that on AI, that all major AI companies are heading to the White House possibly next week. When he was asked what this would entail, people asked Anthropic, OpenAI. He just said all the major ones. So if there's a major AI company, I know SpaceX, I believe, was mentioned as well. So if there's a large AI company, it could be, I guess, visiting the White House next week. If I get more details, I will let you know. Back to you.
Yeah, so that's exactly the one that I was trying to explain to you. Look at his back though, his rhomboids, his teres major, his minor, his trapezius, everything's activating on that move.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? Yeah, this is really interesting. Obviously, I want to see exactly who's going to be making it over the White House, whether it's going to be the top level brass. Are we talking about CEOs? Are we talking about CFOs? Who's going to be going? Because it's going to be a major event for us, obviously. When you have all the AI brass at the White House, I'm anticipating some sort of announcement. I'm anticipating some sort of policy change. Let's see what happens with that. And while we wait for that,
hold on, who do you think gets left out? Because there's always someone. There's always someone who's like that should be there that isn't there.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one there, Joey. Maybe your boy Dario.
You think so?
Well, he's him and the Pentagon. They haven't resolved their differences quite yet, even though we've been hearing a lot of the fact that U.S. government is still using Anthropic's models internally, despite that whole fallout. Who do you think doesn't come?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I think the biggest shocker would be if Sam wasn't there.
No, Sam's gonna go.
Sam's gonna be. But I think that would be the big. Like that's the thing. You think he's
Sam's
gonna be
a brown noser, bro. He'll be there immediately.
A brown noser.
Oh, 100%. Sam's a brown noser.
That's funny.
Absolutely. All right, Sia, what do you got?
Might be our last story. We are running a bit out of time, but we're going to talk about ServiceTitan. ServiceTitan has delivered a strong quarter, reporting adjusted EPS of 37 cents versus the expectations of 28 cents, while revenue has grown 25% year over year to $268.8 million ahead of estimates. Management has raised first-year revenue guidance to $1.13 billion to $1.14 billion, up from $1.11 billion to $1.12 billion. Q2 revenue guidance of $284 million to $286 million, ahead of consensus expectations. Company is in a gap unprofitable, but losses have narrowed from a year ago. This is improved operating leverage. Stock has gained more than 30% this year alone, and TTAN is currently up almost 3%. We're going to take a quick pause and go to Adara. She has breaking news for you.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on watch. Sean, I know you're watching this one. President Trump was asked about FNMA and Freddie Mac, saying that with Bill Pulte, who of course leads these agencies, given that he's now going to also be acting National Intelligence Director, will that change the IPO trajectory for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? President Trump said that he still thinks that they will IPO. He's not in any rush for that IPO to happen, that a lot of people have offered him a lot of money for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in his first term, and that they're worth even more now. So FNMA getting a spike here as President Trump talks up a potential IPO and says they're in no rush to have that IPO occur. Back to you.
Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah, so President Trump also said Big Billy P is not going to be at the helm for much longer. He's temporary. Big Billy P, Bill Pulte. I have to, Katina, man. So Titan, do you have any comments on this one? Because I personally don't even really know too much about the company.
No, I don't know too much about ServiceTitan. But
all right.
Hold on, man. We'll give him a second. We'll let Neil sit down here.
We're going to let him sit down?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't need to sit down. He's okay.
Giving him a hard time. Man. What fun would it be if everything was such a breeze?
Joey, should we remind everybody who's going to be on shortly or what?
Yeah, actually, absolutely do that. ServiceTitan, crapping the bed with the rest of the market. Yeah, Sharif, please, because it was your hard due diligence and your kind words that essentially got the job done.
Hopefully within the next half an hour to an hour, we are going to be very excited to welcome Eric Jackson. And Adara's going to be interviewing him. We're very excited to have him on. Open Door Army, if you're there, send your questions to the big boys. Send your questions to Joey and I, to Sia, to Adara. Tag us in the chat. We'll throw them his way as well, get kind of an idea of how he feels about things. And it's not just the Open Door trade. He's obviously invested in others. He's got a hedge fund. So throw your questions. We're very excited to have him on. He should be here in the office within the hour. So very pumped about that, Joe.
Yeah, are these guys ready yet? There's little technical difficulties. They're not ready.
They're not ready.
No. You know what I think? You don't remember whatever Katina Man? Yeah, well, I don't know.
Stays ready.
Last time he had
stay ready so you don't have
to get ready.
He's breathing.
See, the thing is, like last time Katina Man, I was like, hey man, you do know that you had like 3 hours to just get your mic sorted and everything.
Bro, you don't give suggestions to the big boys?
I know, I don't know if I apologize.
Katina Man is not going to accept that kind of thing,
I know.
All right, no, we're having a good time. I believe Neil is just getting set up at the big board there. Should we spell you, Katina Man? You good to go, or Neil's going to go to the big board?
No, I mean, well, we could put the camera on Ram and she's back there.
Ram loves to be on camera. You know about that, right? Like there you.
Oh, snap!
Oh,
do it again,
Assassino, bro.
Do it again.
Come on, man. Are you
do it
kidding?
again,
That's all
man.
we get.
What kind of flash is that?
That's all we get, Assassino.
Tiffany, take over the sticks. There you go.
Ram, yay. All right, guys.
All right.
Having a good time. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. It's going to rain tomorrow in Toronto, but Sunday should be good. So,
bro, why do you got to be like that, man? I've been waiting. Literally, I have my... Yeah, hold on, man. Let me finish.
Me?
Yeah, because listen, I have all my... No, stop. Let me finish
the radar, bro.
Okay, I have all of my plans, all of my summer events planned out.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
I don't need, and it starts with Due West Fest.
Right.
I don't need to hear that it's going to rain on my parade.
It's going to be fine, Joe. Don't bring an umbrella. Go out, have fun. There's not going to be any rain. Here, Joey.
I know.
We're doing it live.
It's supposed to happen in the morning.
It's not even. This is to 8 a.m. So it's not going to rain till
8 a.m.
Yeah, that's 8 a.m. right there, man. Look. Oh yeah.
PM, my boy.
That sucks.
You're not gonna get there. Trust me.
What kind of a bootleg app
Dude,
is this?
I'm a veteran.
Man?
I'm a veteran of the radar. I know when it's coming. You know what I mean?
All right. We're gonna send you up to Neil. He's got exit strategy for consistent profits. Actually, sorry, we're gonna send you to the Katina Man first. My bad, Neil.
Man.
It's not an exit strategy about consistent profits.
Later.
Take care.
Hey, what's up?